What up?
Gentlemen.
Hey, my friend. How y'all doing?
What's going on?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. You seem like you thought about it for a minute, Drew. Anything going on?
I hate to throw a teaser right at the beginning, but I just finished, like right before I hit join, finished listening to a classic. So,
Ooh, that's
yeah.
a good tease. A classic that you heard previously?
Yes, that.
Is it the one that you and Gerard talked about not too long ago?
Which one?
I actually don't remember what it's called. Y'all talked about listening to it now that y'all was older.
Like Water for Chocolate?
No.
The common one?
Don't remember. It was just yesterday.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't the common one. But
Okay.
that's on the docket for this week. I need to go back to that. So I actually texted Sonam what I texted you guys because I know he loves that album. And he was like, you should tell Artie this because he loves Common, or he loves that album. So
Artie does
yeah,
love.
he goes hard for Common.
Artie is part of the crew that I play
Artie
Warzone
loves
with.
Common.
He was in his when he was on here. He was in his Mount Rushmore.
Common is in his Mount Rushmore.
Yeah,
between Common and Dwelle.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Artie used to ride No Homo.
Any song
used
that
to
he
ride
even
balls
featured
for them.
Dwelle back in the day, he would just say it's the greatest song you've ever heard. Like,
Yeah.
Anything with all right, man. Yeah, okay.
What you got against Dwelle or Common?
Nothing, man. Nah, it's all
what
good.
about? No, Gerard and I agreed. We need to go back and listen to that album with more mature ears, the Like Water for Chocolate, because first time I heard it was middle school. I don't even think I could get through it back then. My attention span was different. And then high school, I gave it a full listen. I was like, man, I'm just not rocking with it. Like, but I know it's a classic, and I know there's certain songs on there I love already. So I just got to listen in full.
I mean, I never. It wasn't like I disliked it. It's just that
Right.
I didn't
understand.
I didn't
fully,
give it
maybe.
any I didn't give it any energy. So it was just like, oh, all right, cool. But then when the next album I think was
B.
Yeah, and that caught my attention better. So like I don't know,
The name of the album is BE from Common. That album is phenomenal.
Oh, my fault.
Gerard, and then I saw a post today of people talking shit about Finding Forever. I'm like, that's arguably his best, most successful
my
album.
favorite.
I agree.
That's probably
That
my favorite
album,
Common album. Either that one. No, actually, my favorite Common album is The Dreamer, The Believer. So that's my favorite Common album.
And that was post that was old Common at that point.
Yeah, but I think the most popular amongst like general people is probably.
I mean, that's when he was with Kanye on Good Music and shit. Fuck, there's one. I'll get into it when we do What Have We Watched, because the new show I'm watching, right off the bat, they had a song by Common. I'm like, whoa. I was like, this is...
Okay.
And it was the Universal Mind Control song. Like, the song everybody hates.
Recent?
Yeah. And I was shocked when they had it in it. I was like, I didn't think anybody knew about this track.
Are y'all ready for some breaking news?
I'm ready for a lot on this
I already know.
So, A$AP Rocky officially found not guilty on all his charges.
Rocky.
Damn.
I gotta
go
be
home
honest.
to your family. Go home to your family.
I gotta be honest. I thought he was crazy as hell for turning down that plea deal. And it turns out I am not media. Because I'm like, wait, they offered you what? And you said no? And they got you on camera?
No, but when Relly got on that stand, I was like, all right, maybe Rocky.
It's like,
maybe
wait.
Rocky got a chance.
I'm like, nah, this is crazy as hell. But apparently his lawyers argued that the gun was a prop gun that was off of a video shoot, and that there was blanks. Look, it ain't about what's right or what's wrong. It's about what you can prove.
Proving your case. Proving your case, yes.
It is until proven guilty. And this is, again, why you can't assume, and why if you got enough money to get good lawyers, hey, anything is possible, because 50 fuck Vivica. That's what I always say. So, hey, that's crazy as hell. I did not see him getting off all counts. Nah, hey.
But also, kids, stop fucking with guns. Like, come on.
Please. A$AP Rocky. Look, after he got out of
John Morant, please stop.
Was it Switzerland? Wherever he was at, it was
Switzerland.
It's like, hey, you need to be on your P's and Q's, but what do I know? Hey, so shout out to A$AP Rocky.
It'd be awesome if we could hear an album about everything, but
you know, that would be
It'd be cool.
You know, I don't know what's worse, me believing in A$AP Rocky dropping finally, or believing that Andre 3000 is going to give us this solo project.
I still think Detox is coming. So,
hey, thank you, because that warms my heart, gives me the little hope that I need.
Gerard, y'all probably still believe in Santa Claus. Y'all still believe in Santa Claus because I don't believe in none of that shit. All right.
Hey, I mean,
what do you mean still believe in Santa Claus? What do you?
Never mind.
I'm not gonna lie. I felt the magic this past Christmas. Drew,
what are you insinuating, Gerard?
Nothing, man.
No. Okay. Because almost felt like that moment where you try to tell me wrestling is fake, and I'm gonna have to, You have to
show some MRIs and shit.
Yeah. Thank you, Drew. I keep saying I'm gonna come up with another good bar for the show like I used to, and I just never come up with one. So
damn, man.
Maybe next week.
Maybe on a sway freestyle.
So, got some Did You Knows. Got quite a bit, actually. Starting off with, shocker, Drake earning the biggest streaming day for a rapper on Spotify in 2025. With 92.4 million streams as a lead artist on February 14th, surpassing Kendrick's record of 92.3, which was February 12th, which is still crazy in itself. Drake and PARTYNEXTDOOR's Some Sexy Songs for You, expected to sell 250 units the first week and debut at number 1 on the Billboard. 28,000 was pure. Will be Drake's 14th number 1 album and PARTYNEXTDOOR's first. And Drake will tie Jay-Z as the male soloist with the most number 1 albums in Billboard history with 14. Joining Taylor Swift as the artist with the most number 1 albums released this century. Jeez. However, I do want to recognize Kendrick Lamar as well. He now becomes the first living male soloist in history to simultaneously chart 3 albums on the Billboard 200's top 10, as GNX returned to number 1 for a second week, which was 236,000 equivalent units, and former number 1 Damn and Good Kid, Mad City re-entered the top 10 at 9 and 10 respectfully.
I thought Good Kid, Mad City was on that streak of like it hasn't left since it's been on, so that's what I was curious about.
But it wasn't in the top 10. Now he's got 3 albums in the top 10, which again,
that's crazy.
You don't get paid for the Super Bowl performance, but
it's never left the top 200, right?
No.
Or something. Since it's been
on top 200.
I think that's the crazier one.
It's definitely
12 years, 13 years.
I love it. Kendrick Lamar and SZA become the first Super Bowl performers in history to hold the number 1 and number 2 on the Billboard 200 directly following halftime performance. So again, shout out to both Kendrick Lamar and SZA, which I have to say I told you so, Gerard and Drew, because sent y'all that video, and SZA definitely had a TV in her room.
Not too much. Not too much.
Oh, okay.
Chill.
My fault. No disrespect.
Chill on SZA. All right.
Saw a tweet that said Lefty Gunplay isn't registered with a PRO, meaning he isn't collecting publishing royalties off of the song TV Off, or any song any other song in his catalog. In the U.S., songwriters have 3 years to claim unpaid royalties. After that window closes, the funds are distributed among major publishers. I want to shout out our bro, Brian, because I saw him tweet out. In the past 5 hours after he tweeted that, 24 artists have reached out to him directly about their publishing situations and how important it is to talk about such thing that we talked about on our interview, which if you haven't, check it out on both YouTube, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Shameless plug. But we talk about these things more. Fewer and fewer acts will actually let it slip through the cracks. This is dialogue is super important. But he went on to say that this dialogue is also a net positive because knowledge is power. So I did also see him tweet out that I think Lefty Gunplay or his people reached out. So hopefully that's getting fixed. But like you said, Gerard, I mean, it goes back to the importance of, making sure you have good lawyers.
No, it's not even that. That's not. I'm sure that PG Lane does business well. Lefty Gunplay is a Mexican gangbanger who rap for the homies. So he probably ain't think nothing of it when Kendrick called him. So to not have his publishing together, like I'm sure they get paid off of like other stuff, like concerts and stuff like that.
They get
so
paid
he
cash
think,
for Rod.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
he ain't think nothing of it.
You were wet when it switch
a paper bag, right? So when Z said that, he was probably like, "Oh shit, we could get some more money, right?"
No, thank you for that education because obviously I know the song, but I'm not familiar with Lefty Gunplay himself. Were you familiar, Drew? I think we discussed this. Were you familiar?
So
with
like,
him
I don't listen to his music, but I know the affiliations of the people that was on GNX, so I knew what gang he was from, but I didn't know his music like that for real, because it's not for me. You know what I'm saying? Like he liked to rap in Spanish and stuff like that. So like I knew his affiliations, but I didn't think he was like a big rapper or nothing like that. I knew he was like heavy in LA. So
Okay.
yeah.
He basically said he's not Mexican OTB.
I was literally,
I'm
like, I wanted to ask, but I didn't want it to come across as like
joking.
stereotypical. So I'm like, does he sound anything? In my mind, I'm thinking that, Joe. I'm like, does he sound anything like Mexican too? I'm like,
who's that one back in the Don Omar or something back in the day? He was, and then early Pitbull too used to rap in Spanish. People forget about that.
dude, there's a lot people forget about Pitbull.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, and he only say 4 words. He only say shit. No, Lefty Gunplay.
Oh.
He only say is shit gets crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious, crazy,
Okay.
scary, spooky, hilarious.
That's
That's
actually
it.
crazy.
That's all he say.
That's
He about to make bank. I actually saw Brian had another tweet about because Kendrick owns like his masters just based off the numbers alone from when it comes to. Oh my goodness, I should have wrote this tweet down. But basically, just off of Not Like Us, I think that's generated for him between $10 and $12 million. He said,
Shit.
Jesus.
and that's
wow.
That's just without, and that's not including. I think he said the publishing deal he has. So
Jeez.
that's simply off of just like
Yeah,
you know,
sales.
just sales alone. Like, bro, that's shout out to
crazy.
Kendrick, shout out to hip hop.
I hate to jump the gun talking about the album, but did you see the one Brian posted as well about the Pim feature on the Drake and Party Next Door album?
Possibly. Which one are you specifically referring to?
Let me see.
Because I know they made her the lead artist for that song.
Yes, and
So she gets like I know she's gained like almost 2 million followers
sweet,
just in the time, bro. It's crazy.
just by putting her first, which is crazy.
Yeah. So like I love how it's similar to what they had for Yibba's Heartbreak.
Pimmy's
Like,
Dilemma,
bro, that song is beautiful. Like I'm happy for her because I guess she had been in the industry, but like didn't obviously have her big break yet. So man, they put that
I
together.
heard she was brand new. I heard that she like just started doing. Yeah, I think Complex did like a
because she's more like a SoundCloud. Like she has to be like nothing prominent.
Like,
so
I thought she
something.
just was like fucking around or something like that, and just was doing music.
That's incredible. So Party Next Door and Drake's album broke the record for the biggest first day of streams for an R&B and soul album in Apple Music history. Drake and P&D did Pim. Oh, Drew, you stole my thunder. Did Pim a huge favor by listing her as a primary artist. As a primary, the song appears in the albums and on the appears on section of her profile, which boosts her account and the search as well as her music when it comes to the algorithm. So just one day after being featured on the album, her monthly listeners on Spotify went from 31,000 to 1.8 million.
Damn.
And I'm pretty sure she's cleared 2 million by now. So,
shout out to her, man. That's dope.
shout out to her for sure. Also, I have this. Speaking of, I had set this up in my radio mind, Drew. So I apologize. I said, speaking of Drake and Huge, and not talking about Drew's favorite video. Drake.
Jesus.
Drake will headline all 3 nights at Wireless Festival this summer in London, with a different set each night. So the Friday he'll be hosting it with Party Next Door and Summer Walker, and then Saturday with the Mandem. I actually don't know who that is, so I apologize.
No, it's not. That's not a group. It's just UK rappers. The Mandem. Like,
so it's one guy.
Like you know how they say Drake and Friends? That's what it is. Like Mandem is like a UK thing for like friends.
I kind of like that because I'm definitely thinking it's like a Wu-Tang, like man and them. Like, that's funny as fuck. But Sunday, which if I was to go to the show, I would definitely go Sunday. He's going to be performing with Burna Boy and Vibes Cartel.
I would want to go to that
and,
show. Yeah.
So the first night will be R&B.
Tell me when the GOAT get on stage, and I mean Burna Boy. You know.
I know.
Yeah. Yep.
No,
Yeah.
night 2 will be night 2 will be rap, and night 3 will be more melodic. I don't know what that means, but Drake and Burna Boy, that's fire. So this will be July 11th through the 13th, and the first time ever one artist 3 different set lists. So that's super dope.
That's dope.
Kanye West had his biggest day in 6 months on Spotify. This was 29.4 million streams across all credits. The top songs being played was Flashing Lights, Heartless, I Wonder, and Violent Crimes. Surprised to see Violent Crimes on there, but I wanted to say shout out to Kanye because that's crazy as hell.
Yeah.
Bro, I went into just wormhole the other day with his tweets, and some of the shit I was reading, I felt bad reading them in my mind.
That's what I was saying. Like, bro, like, you only do this when you
just-
trying to promote something and it's annoying as fuck.
He's trying to promote just shirts with swastikas on them. And he was like, I've been having this idea for 8 years now. I'm like, bro, like, shut the fuck up at this point. Like,
He's a lost cause, man.
Oh,
Shout out to
my
Justin,
God.
too, by the way. Justin Davis. Cause
oh, yeah.
he definitely texted me and was like, I listened to great podcasts, and I love what you said about Kanye, but, I mean, I feel like I don't even want to spend any more time on
It's
him.
like obvious, that, like, you know, just obvious, like, what he's doing. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just, I hate to see.
It's beyond Shaq value at this point, you know?
Nah.
I hate
man,
to
fuck
see a truly
Yeah.
a special talent like Kanye go out the way he's been going out over the last few years. Like, similar to how I felt about Wayne, but even
I
Wayne.
hate to
is
see
crazy.
great minds being wasted like that, you know? Or
Yeah.
just putting out,
Nah,
like, smut and
just-
shit, like...
I no, fuck him. We not
Yeah.
gonna promote hate. We not even gonna talk about. Oh yeah, but he did this. Nah, fuck that. No,
Yeah,
fuck him.
he's,
That's
No,
it.
it's crazy.
Yeah,
2 Chainz and Larry June's "Life Is Beautiful" earned 8.2 million streams in his opening
Nice.
week on Spotify.
Nice.
At the time, it was the 5th biggest debut for a rap album in 2025. Wiz Khalifa announced Cushion Orange Juice 2 will be dropping on April 18th. I just realized the timing of that. Shout out to Wiz. Woo! 10 years ago, Drake dropped "If You're Reading This Is Too Late," featuring Energy, 10 bands, Know Yourself, Legend, 6 Man, many more.
10
Debuted
years?
number 1. Huh?
You said 10 years ago?
Yep, 10 years ago. This past week. Debuted at number 1, selling 535,000 first week, and is currently 4 times platinum. Shout out to Tim's. Singer Tim's made history by becoming the first African-born woman to own a Major League Soccer team, MLS club. So shout out to Tim's. Huge. Captain America's Brave New World earned $40 million in the film's domestic opening day, the second highest opening day ever for a Captain America movie.
Wow.
that's dope.
Also, apparently, Marvel Studios is interested in making Keke Palmer giving her a big role in MCU. So I thought Gerard would love that. Wanted to add it to my notes.
Yeah.
And lastly, Michael Cole says that the WWE is a storytelling entity first, not a professional wrestling company anymore. He said that's why Netflix wanted them, and Netflix understands that they're a storytelling entity first and not professional wrestling, which we haven't been for many years. We're an entertainment product. On one hand, it's like, I feel like that might rub some people the wrong way, but on the other hand, it's like, I can kind of see that because WWE has always kind of been like a male version of
Soap opera.
what's the soap opera.
Yeah.
So on one hand, it's like they're embracing the story, like certain relationships, like
You
posting
have
on social
to.
media, like it's real. But
Yeah.
That's
At
what
the end of the
wrestling
day-
is too, right?
Exactly.
I was gonna say at the end of the day, it's not too different from what wrestling has always been.
Yeah.
But then again, wrestling ain't always been on Netflix or something like that versus a
Yeah.
TV. Maybe that's I don't know. I see both
It's the
sides.
times.
semantics, dog.
I
I
don't
know.
listen. Here's what I don't get about
Yeah.
that comment.
No, perfect.
They had their own WWE network, which is essentially Netflix for wrestling. Like, that's what
Yeah.
doesn't make sense about this.
I don't know.
No, I shout out to Michael Cole, man. Bless his heart.
I guess. I wouldn't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah, I don't think he did it in a disrespectful way, but like that's just a statement where it could possibly impact the business.
I mean,
depending on
that's
how
half
it's
the reason we always came back was the story. You know, you got to see what happens
True.
next week.
True. Hey, the stories was compelling. Like I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember when Big Boss Man pulled up to Big Show. I think Big Show had a funeral when his parents passed
Oh, yeah.
away.
His dad passed away, yeah.
Okay,
he
so now when y'all talking about different things, it makes sense then, because
Yeah.
some other wrestling companies might care more about the actual match than like y'all talking about like him showing up to a funeral and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
right.
That's
showed up
irrelevant
to
to
a
the
funeral
match. Yeah,
and
like,
drag
so,
away the casket, my dog. WWF was diabolical back in the day. Holy shit! But no, I actually have a discussion. Speaking of Artie, I had a discussion with him because I didn't really watch WCW like that growing up. Like I was into WWF, but like there's a lot of people that was into WCW, and then once it merged into WWF, like that's what brought them to WWF. So I just always talk about how the WWF was a better product, but Artie's rebuttal has always been WCW had the better in-ring wrestling because you got to think they had, which true. I took your stance. I'm like I don't know about that, but then again, they had Chris Benoit before he went to WWE. They had Rey Mysterio. They had Chris Jericho. They had
I know who they had.
Rey Mysterio. No, I'm just naming
they
guys.
Had Sting. They had Sting,
right? Like Goldberg isn't a great in-the-ring talent, but
neither was Sting though.
Sting wasn't either. So true, but they also did have Kevin. But then there's three guys that started at WWF. But those guys started WWF, went to WCW, then came back. So it's like
they had
I don't know who gets credit for it, but I just do think it's a closer debate than I originally thought, just based on the guys that did come over and thrive in the WWF, but started in WCW. But they didn't have the money like WWF had with Vince. So automatically that kind of gives WWF a leg up to be the better product. So
in that Vince McMahon documentary, Eric Bischoff talks about that whole merger thing. He said the reason WCW fell off is because their story started lagging. He said it wasn't compelling anymore like WWF was. Like, you got to have the balance of both, man.
If you watch some of those old clips, like of the in-ring wrestling with WCW, like right before it ended up collapsing,
dude,
it was really bad. Like. It was almost like mocking anybody watching.
It's the chair shots where they barely tap them and they just get knocked out.
WWF Hulk swinging full metal chairs. Some of the bullshit I saw him do on WCW. It's bad.
So corny.
It's bad. But let's get into what we listened to, watched, and or played. I did want to continue something I started last week with Gerard. I promised you I would go back and finish Mud. And I want to thank you. I want to thank Leon Thomas because we had talked about, kind of being in that lull and like not wanting to listen to music. But I feel like this album was the one for this year that like got me excited to listen to music again. Like it was incredible. I already told you I kind of feel like he's the modern day version of Music Soul Child. But like Dancing with Demons, like just I'm so impressed by like the instruments you guys kind of always talk about with certain albums. The music sound just is really captivating. Vibes Don't Lie, and even just the song Mud itself and the remix. And I thought he did great choosing Big Rabbit, my man,
Freddie
Gibbs for the remix. Like that's such a great blend. I just very impressed. So sorry it took me so long, but no, I you were correct when you said you really thought I would love the album because it was really good. Do y'all want to get into it now?
I mean, let's just rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah. So I was curious how you guys both felt. I don't know who wants to go first, but I think I know how Drew feels.
Gerard, I'd love to hold your hand and do this together. We've been texting a lot, B. We've been texting a lot. We've been sending a lot of like make fun of videos, a lot of memes. So you know, we kind of feel the same. How do I want to start it? Because I don't want to hurt feelings on this one.
I don't even care about hurting feelings. I don't even care about hurting feelings. I'm trying to, the best way I can say this, like, respectfully, because I don't want to do this no more. That album's not for me. I did not enjoy that album. I'm no longer going to listen to Drake albums anymore, ever. I'm done. If I want to listen to Drake, it's going to be Views and below. Because I've been saying this consistently that he ain't made good music in a long time and he still doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't listen to albums for 2 or 3 records. That's not how my brain is wired to listen to music. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's the thing nowadays that people, because you can like favorite songs and stuff like that and add it to your like constant playlist, that when people listen to an album, they don't care if it's 3 for 21. If you got some shit on there then that's it. Just take the, like my daughter, like she listened to that album, and I told her that like we're like talking about it because I want to like understand what the hell you like. So we talking about it, and she named like 6 songs, and she was like, "Yeah, those are all good songs." I was like, "Kennedy, you named 6 out of 21 songs," and she was like, "I know you take what you like, and then you don't listen to the rest." I'm like, "That's 6 out of 21 songs. Like that doesn't bother you, and it doesn't bother this generation." So it's like, bro, like if that's what we doing, then like if you're not even like taking the opportunity to craft something, like I'm not doing
a project
like,
pretty much.
Yeah, like it sound dated. It sound like these are throwaway tracks that shit that they should have released in 2012, 2013 when people was asking for a Drake Party record that they brought back in 2025. Like, we might as well put this shit out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's 3 records that I like. You know what I'm saying? Which is Give Me a Hug, Deeper. I think No Key is cool. I don't know if I'm like on listen to it consistently, but I think it's a cool record. And that's it. Like, honestly, like that's pretty much like all that I'm gonna like really take from that, and like when they put it in the category of R&B soul, there's no soul in that album at all. Like, none.
That's what I want to talk about.
It's not R&B. Like, if we really get into it, like as far as lyrically, like Drake has like regressed as a lyricist. Like, he don't write songs that's like captivating anymore. I know exactly what he gonna say every single time. Like AI can probably write a Drake song for him, and that's like a little bit more intricate than what he's doing right now. It just seemed like his music that he putting out, like, just it's boring. Like that's what I told you off rip. Like, bro, like this shit is boring. Like I was literally listening to it like dozing off. Like, this shit is not captivating at all, and like it's just not for me. And so I'm not about to keep getting on here and putting out my podcast just to give views, just to say Drake is trash. I'm not gonna do that. Like, cause like that's not productive. It's not gonna gain any conversation or something like that. But he clearly not making music for me, so I'm gonna just stop listening to it. Like, so like it ain't even no Love Lost. Like, he made albums for me already, so I can just go back and listen to that shit, because the shit he putting out now is clearly not for me. So like it ain't, and it's disappointing because I was like, I'm more mad at myself because I had expectations for this album. Like, it's like from the last podcast, I'm like, damn, I'm looking forward to this because like it's something that we've been wanting for a long time, and then you get this shit and it's like somebody warmed up some food in the microwave for you. Like, I was looking for like a home cooked meal. Like, so yeah, I'm not. Yeah, it wasn't. I'm not gonna.
I'll piggyback real quick, B. My main takeaway after one complete listen was that it's very lazy, and a lot of the beats sound the same, and I did change that a little bit on my second listen. But when I go into the album in CN Tower all the way up until Give Me a Hug, which is track 10, you can put those songs on shuffle and they all sound the same, honestly. It's like the same beat, the same cadence, the same... I really looked at this as an album when I went into this one, because I really wasn't expecting much. When we talked about our last episode and what we expected, I said this is the time where he should really push his vocals if he's going to do it on this album. It's the same lackluster singing I have heard since probably 2014, 2015. Like, he has not pushed the bar as an R&B artist at all, and I feel like this was the time where he should do that. So track 1 through 9 really were complete throwaways to me. Give Me a Hug was good. It was dope, but it kind of goes to what Gerard said, man. They're kind of baby lyrics when you think about it. There's nothing that stands out. Yeah, he took some shots on there, but they weren't the best shots in my opinion. We can get into that a little later when we talk about, because I know the Kendrick shit's going to come up with it, but like lyrically, it's like elementary rhymes to me, like dictionary, obituary. It's just like it's like he went on rhymer.com and looked like every 3-syllable word or something like that, and just that's the way it sounded to me. So I do want to give the production a little credit on the second half. After I heard this album for a second time, there's actually some creativity on the second half of the album where they push it a little bit more, like Nokia, for example. I think that's the best produced song on the album, just because it's different and it's not so redundant as the first half. The Die Trying song, honestly, I was like, fuck, throw Post Malone on it. This is the perfect song for him on this. It sounds like a Post Malone track if you listen to it. But then you get to 16 through 21, I'm like, oh shit, there it goes, falling off again and sounding the same. I'm like, I get what they were trying to do and make a sexy album and, you know, go with that, like, low pitch tone and everything and try and get the woman in the sheets, you know, make love for an hour, 14 minutes or something, you know, but it doesn't hit like that to me. Like, I texted Gerard, I was like, bro, TP2.com is still the sexiest album I've ever heard, and that's by R. Kelly. Like, you can say what you want. That's a sexy-ass album. Like, you know, it didn't do anything for me, and I'm not at the point where I'm not going to listen to his project, because the next one he comes out, I'm going to listen. I'm waiting for him to do something at this point in his career now, and it just hasn't happened yet. So I'm let down, but I wasn't expecting too much.
I mean, just to piggyback off your point, Drew, like, you waiting for Drake to get better vocally, that's not why people loved him. He wasn't a great singer to begin with. It was because he was versatile. It's because he can, like, you can weave in between rapping and singing. Like, that's something that everybody can't do. Like,
A lot
his
of people can
songwriting,
now,
his
though.
his songwriting was unique because he was like vulnerable. Like, he was able to, like, make you feel in a way, and then, you know, he could still rap. Like, and you know, that shit that he did on the shit that he did on Give Me a Hug is shit that he's done before. Like, that's not something that he's like, it's not a new skill that he's done. He's been like doing that for a minute now, like that rhyming the last syllable on every line. He's been doing that for a minute now. So at a point, like, it's like you wearing like a boxer wearing out a punch. Like, if I know you coming with a hook, like if I know you coming with a hook, like, I'm gonna find a way to, like, duck that hook. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna be a knockout every single time. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it works, you know, to a sense. And then, like, I think that he also leans on, like, the production with the beat changes and stuff like that. Like, I think a lot of people are doing that a lot now. I just
don't you think he should push it a little lyrically or vocally now?
I don't
just try something a little high, more like.
What I think is he don't think he has to. That's what I think. I don't think
we've had
Drake
that conversation before on here. Sadly,
yeah, but I'm really at the point now where I feel like Drake does not give a fuck what we think he should do or about growing as an artist. I think because, like, this week we see he getting 250K first week. B talks about his streaming records and shit like that. That nigga don't give a fuck about nothing else, bro. And, like, it's clear. And you know what I'm saying? Like, Drake, the people who love Drake are gonna love it regardless. The people who hate Drake are gonna hate it regardless. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of don't even matter at this point.
I'm gonna be honest too, because something I forgot to mention when talking about the album, he didn't do anything. I guess it's not fully on Drake. I don't think it is at all. Sorry, but he didn't do anything, or Party didn't do anything to accelerate Party on this album. He was so in his lane, and Party's boring to me, man. Like, he doesn't do anything for me at this point. Like, I feel like every Party album sounds about the same now.
Yeah, but I think the people that listen to this album, like people who love Party, are more disappointed than anything because it's more of a Drake album than a Party album.
It is,
so.
Yeah. But you're expecting, what's that song you told me the other day? I can't, the hit one they made. I can't think of the name right now.
That Drake and Party made?
Yeah, old.
Oh, Come and See Me, or
that's it. Yeah. Like, I feel like that was the peak of them making collabs together, you know, and just nothing exciting happened between them on this album. There could have been a part where they were harmonizing together or something, and I don't know, just a little more creativity than what I heard. It's on you, B.
I just want to start by saying, like, I'm really proud of the way that you guys expressed your thoughts, specifically with Gerard. Like, I was trying to, like, think of, you know, how I wanted to approach this, because to Gerard's point, the last couple times we've had discussions about his albums, I mean, the feedback basically from you guys has been the same. So I kind of knew what to expect after listening to this album based on how I know you guys. But like Gerard said, like, and we kind of talked about this last week, everything is like a shock value. And the opposite of what you guys just did versus what has kind of come with social media is like, there's people that know they don't like Drake, know that there's really not anything that he could do for them to like him, but go out of their way to listen to the album just to be the first ones to be like, it's trash.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even care. I'm at the point now where like this album has done something for me that has also done for you guys, but in different ways. Like, I can't agree more with what Gerard said. Like, if you don't like Drake at this point, and similarly to what I heard on the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne, and why I kind of joked about it with you, Drew, it's like Charlemagne was giving feedback on his album, and the light skinned guy, sorry, DJ Envy was like, bro, Drake could do like X, Y, and Z. You wouldn't like it. So like, I just don't understand. Like, I wouldn't personally, if I know I don't like an artist, I'm not going out my way just to be the first one to hate. Like, that's just corny behavior to me. I took a lot of notes, and I put down, like, we have to recognize a point where we're looking for things from an artist that's tried to appease everyone, you know, over the course of a 15-year career, and it's like almost asking an old dog to do new tricks in my mind. Like, I feel like selfishly there's crowds of people that enjoy rapper Drake and only want that. But as an artist, as we talked about the versatility with Drake and the vulnerability that attracted people, like, I look at Drake as like a chameleon, and I'm not going to hold it against an artist because he doesn't restrict himself of producing the kind of music that a certain fan base is looking for. Hopefully that makes sense, but like, there's people that like the drill version of Drake. I don't like that. He put that on the album, but I don't, like, I'm not going to take away from the album because I didn't like that. But again, I've liked Certified Lover Boy more than you guys liked it. I enjoyed For All the Dogs more than you guys liked it. So, like, I'm not looking kind of like we've had these conversations before, Drew, where, like, we talk about artists needs to drop an album and whether or not it needs to be a classic. Like, I don't need a classic from Drake, but I can also see how with you guys, like, you feel like you want him to push himself, or you're looking for something inspirational, and I feel like it comes to, like, where you are in your life. Like, it makes sense. I know I put in my notes, like, what did I put? For example, both of you being married and fathers, like, there's a seriousness and a level of responsibility in your lives, not to get fake deep, but, like, there's certain things that y'all have to put up with that nobody else will understand with y'all being in that position. There's certain responsibilities you have. So, like, being more mature, but also probably not able to be as carefree as you once were because of said responsibilities. So it's like, I understand why you wouldn't be moved by something like this, because it's what he's put out, you know, the last X amount of times. But as a fan, I'm not upset because I enjoy what he's been putting out. So, like, it's just more of what I enjoy. Also, like, being carefree and able to be a bachelor, like, it's certain lyrics and certain things I hear that I don't get annoyed by because, like, it's still relatable to me. But at the same time, like, it's not as relatable to certain people, so I get that. It's also perfectly okay to outgrow an artist. And that's something that people have to understand, like, you don't need to apologize for. Like, if Gerard ain't fucking with Drake, like, he's giving him 10 years of a career that he enjoyed, like, before he got put on. So I'm not, and Gerard says this all the time, and I had to finally understand it, I think, a few debates ago with Drew. Like, I'm not gonna change Drew's mind, and I'm not trying to change Drew's mind. What I like is the discourse. Okay, you both broke down, I don't like it, and here's why. What social media has made cool and what just society in general is, all you got to do is throw out some bullshit or say a hot take, and you don't have to defend it. You don't have to put any thought behind it. It's just a simple take. So, like, I got annoyed, Drew, when I saw you had put, like, it's lazy, and not with you as a person, but, like, I hear a lot of people say, like, it's lazy. I just feel like I don't know if that's the accurate word, because some of these are good songs, but it's not different from other good songs he's put out. So I can't classify that as lazy. I classify it as, I don't know, to be honest. But listening to this album, I think it's more than 3 songs that I like for sure. So I don't look at it the way that Gerard looks at it. But I'm not trying to change Gerard's mind. He gave me insight and perfectly stated as to, this is why I don't want to listen to Drake. this is the Drake that I enjoyed. This is what I think Drake's content with. And like, if that's the case, cool. It's not for me. Like, that's maturity. I just hope we get to a point where, whether it's sports, whether it's music, we can get back to, like we talked about, people debating versus, man, that's just trash, or seeing who can yell the loudest for the most clicks.
Right.
Like, bro, I don't give a fuck about, like, at the end of the day, I like conversations like this. Like, the thing that I think I want to ask you guys isn't really changing your mind. It's more so to thought provoke. I think personally that we're looking at Drake because he's able to accomplish certain things or has accomplished certain things that we haven't asked from previous artists. And what I mean by that is, like, we always talk about how Jay-Z dropped 444. But before that, content-wise, for the most part, I feel like you knew what you were getting with the Jay-Z album. And I understand why, Gerard, I know you. You are drawn to confidence. Jay-Z is confident, quiet, powerful, like wise, educational, from New York. You love New York, so it makes complete sense why that's your goal. And not saying those are the exact reasons, but Drew, you love wordplay, bars, aggression, humor. Being white also, and being so in love with hip-hop, you can connect with Eminem, talking about fitting in, and ultimately, like, he wasn't really trying to fit in. He was more so being himself, and those were the people that he gravitated towards because of his interests, right? With me specifically, I'm not biracial, but I understood and thought about, after he dropped his album, why is it that I'm so drawn to Drake or enjoy Drake as an artist, and why do I take it so, I guess, personal when I don't know this nigga, and most of us will never know most of the artists we really...
You're a fan, man. That's what
we're a
fans
fan,
do.
right?
Yeah.
And I think that's something, it goes back to entertainment. But, like, one thing I can connect with is the fact that when you grow up in the suburbs in a middle-class family, and you have a dad who's super proud of being black, and mind you, I grew up in West Bloomfield, and at the time, as a kid, it wasn't a lot of kids that looked like me. However, it was a lot of family that looked like me. So we live in the West Bloomfield, going to Detroit where all our cousins is at, and they giving you jokes, right? Like, hey, you talk proper, you talk white, blah, blah, blah. But then it's like you always feel like you trying to compensate or to convince the other side that you're not what they think you are. White people see you, you face certain racism, and then black people see you, and it's like, why you talk so white? So it's like, I can connect with Drake knowing that we always talk about the identity, thing that was a big part of his career. Like, I get that. I had a father in my life, so I can't connect to the, not having a dad growing up, but there's people that can connect to certain things he talks about. So I just understood why I'm drawn to Drake and why I feel like this album, to me, I understand, like, yo, Drake ain't for everybody. That's cool. I feel like if you weren't feeling Drake a certain way and you see him all the time, you could get to a point where he comes across as annoying. I get that. But at the same time, I'm not about to apologize for enjoying Drake because of the narrative that lately has been like, he's a culture vulture. Like, I don't buy into that. Like, he's put so many people on. It's just certain narratives I don't even play into anymore. I enjoy Drake for myself, and I'm happy with the project. I don't think it's a classic. I am actually more disappointed in Party, and I kind of wanted to talk about that more. But I've had some great discussions about the album, and at the end of the day, that's all I'm looking for. Like, I don't think everybody needs to drop a think piece based on why they don't like Drake, but I just enjoy the discourse. So, long story long, I just wanted to thank you both for y'all, what y'all basically said about the album and the mature approach y'all took, because I really wasn't looking to do like a screaming contest. I just wanted to know y'all thoughts.
Damn, I was. That's sad. No, I'm joking. All right, let me ask you something real quick. Do you enjoy this album? Like, is it a good album to you?
I do enjoy the album.
Would you say it's a good album?
I would say it's a good album. But I also can agree when I hear Gerard say that it feels like a lot of throwaway tracks, because to me, it's certain songs that will fit more on previous projects, but I don't get annoyed if I hear something that reminds me of something I heard before. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Let me ask you one more, because I'm getting to a point real quick. Yeah, go ahead.
Quick though, I do agree when Gerard says there's no soul. Like, I can agree with that.
Yeah, it feels passionless at time. Like, that we'll talk about that. We'll talk about like the actual songs in a minute. But what was I gonna ask? Oh, my other question is: do you think it's an album for you specifically that could grow over time and you enjoy it more?
I do.
Okay.
Because since I listened to it the first time, and I think one of the biggest things for me, I didn't like the intro track.
CN
forget the name
Tower.
of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like, again, I go
weak.
back to, like, if you already have people that feel like your last few albums have been lackluster or they're looking for something, I think it's really hard to set the tone to motivate them to keep listening to you when your intro track is nothing like those intro tracks that was
Right.
on
Yeah,
the
those
classic albums
deep,
that
good
yeah.
rap tracks. Yeah.
So, like, I was disappointed in the intro track. Like,
Hold
there's
on,
a
real
lot of
quick,
songs.
because I got to give you your prize now for answering those questions.
Yeah.
Because I have one, Gerard has one after talking with him, and this is your Magna Carta Holy Grail / Relapse album. You enjoy it; it can grow over time for you, and that's exactly what I told Gerard the other day. I was like, bro, I fought like till I was like blue in the face, swollen, sweaty, tired about Relapse. I swore it was a great album. It grooved to me over time, and I liked it even more. I'm an Eminem fan. Gerard, I talked to him the other day.
Yeah.
I said, this is your kingdom come. He said, I'd say it's more of my Magna Carta Holy Grail.
I think it's more Magna Carta Holy Grail.
That album always got more slander to me than I never understood.
That's what we talked about. Like,
maybe
I was
maybe
curious.
It's for pure Jay-Z albums or Jay-Z fans.
Because with Jay-Z fans, it was Jay-Z, like, just to push back what you said about Jay, like you kind of knew what you was getting. With MCHG, he was trying new things. You know, he was trying new sounds. He worked with big producers and stuff like that. He was trying to like find a bigger sound, like, and you know, he was still trying to add the stuff that he rapped about before, but it was also a little bit more mature and stuff like that. Yeah. So it was like he was trying out different things, and I think that it didn't captivate people the way that they wanted it to. But if you listen to it now, you kind of like it's more enjoyable to you. But like off the rip, and the way that you had to get the album, remember it came on Samsung's like free, and then like people you had to wait like I guess a couple of days before they can listen to it somewhere else. So you had to wait before you got that. Like so, it was just it was a bunch of stuff surrounding it. But I think a lot of people was just like, this ain't the Jay-Z like I'm accustomed to.
That we wanted.
Yeah. So
I feel like that's this album for you, B. Like it could grow over time. You enjoy it right now, but I was looking at some of what you were saying on Twitter, and I feel like
also it could be different for B because this is not a solo Drake album.
That is true. So like, but it's more of a Drake album than a party one. But still,
it is.
Like,
it is.
I agree with that.
Like B was defending it musically and like what he enjoys about it on Twitter, which I was respecting. You know. I always said one of my favorite days is when he makes an album and I go far left, you go far right about an album, you know, but it's fun seeing the tweets from both sides. But like I get it riles me up sometimes when I see people talk about an album saying how great it was, but they won't explain why. Like you said, people say how trash an album is, but
I
they
do
won't
hate
say
that
why.
too. Yeah, like
they expect
I agree
the
with
comic
you.
section to fill out their rhetoric for them, you know. Like,
No,
I do agree with you, B. Like, I hate when people, like, off rip, like, it's 12:05, the album dropped at 12 o'clock, and they, like, trash. Like, I hate that. And I also hate the homers who... I hate the homers who listen to the album and be like, this is amazing. It's like, you can't think that this fast.
Can't think
like,
it's amazing.
There's no way.
I don't know how you can determine an album a classic 24 hours after it dropped.
Well, that's the thing. Like, everybody was talking about 3 songs. Honestly, 2 songs the first day. Then it grew to, like, 3 or 4 they were talking about. I'm like, bro, you're talking about 2 out of 21 songs. Like, Gerard was saying, his daughter's 6 out of 21. I'm like, that's a failing grade. Like, that's under half the album.
Yeah, but she gonna play the fuck out of them 6 songs. I'll tell you that.
That's
so,
fine,
like...
but you can't say an album is good if it's
like,
under half to you. Like, it has... I would say at least 70% of the album has to be good.
Yeah, but that's...
for you to
that's
defend it.
So, that's... The argument for that is you found 6 of them. B might have 12, 13, 14.
Yeah, but
like that.
That's fine if B does. I'm fine with that. But like, the internet, social media, Twitter over the weekend, we're only talking about 2 to 3 songs. You know.
Yeah, I've only seen 2 songs like
Nokia
legit,
and
like
and
Nokia.
Give Me a Hug.
Give Me a Hug. Yeah.
And let me say one thing real quick, and I'll let you guys talk a little more. Give Me the Hug doesn't fit on the album. With I said,
absolutely not.
There's 9 songs that all sound the same, and then you throw that one in there.
He recorded "Give Me a Hug" yesterday. That was recorded yesterday. That
it was after
hours
the Super
before
Bowl,
he put
probably.
the album. right. He wrote that verse after the Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like,
to your point, Drew, I think that's why I personally enjoyed it so much. And I know it sounds weird because it's supposed to be like the whole thing is an R&B and soul album, but you're listening to it and you hear him. And another Drake I don't like, I'm not really a big fan of the like acapella because it's almost like it takes him a while to catch the beat, and y'all know I hate when like motherfuckers off beat.
It takes those are the songs that drag, man, and they just
What's the song?
there's no
what's the
payoff.
name? Was it Wants and Needs where Meet Me in
Yeah,
the Time?
yep.
Like,
Yeah.
I didn't like that. Like I now I'll always be honest with y'all. Like I'm not gonna say everything he drops is great. Like
Right.
I'm good on
Dog,
that.
I said the same thing with Girls Love Beyonce because he did that same. I'm like, I know he's off beat. I just know he's off beat right here, and then
That
the
song
beat
I've
catches
always-
up to him. Like I'm like,
I've always been on record. That is the one Drake song people say Drake don't have misses. I'm like, yo, I will fully tell you.
Every
Girls
artist
Love
has
Beyonce,
misses,
I
man.
don't. That's when I don't like. Like
Yeah.
I can name more, but also was it Summer Games off of Scorpion?
oh
Trash.
yeah,
And
Like-
the Michael Jackson track.
See, I dislike that one, but like
It grew.
I can go on a rant. No, it
Pause.
didn't grow, but like I can see what they were trying to do, and obviously
yeah. I
y'all
see
know
what they was trying to do. Yeah,
I love Michael Jackson. I love Drake. But at the same time, when people say it's trash, I'm not arguing. Like, you could tell it's arguable as to whether that was actually the real Michael Jackson. But, like,
Yeah, true.
you could see what they tried to do. And if they were able to do it in live, like, it would have been better. But, like, what can you do? But, no, I'm never going to be that guy that's like, Drake don't have misses because Dry, thank you. I'm always like, bro, Girls Love Beyonce ain't it. Like,
yeah.
always get a skip on mine.
So
But
what'd you like about this album then? Well, let's get into it. Like the actual
I keep
nitty-gritty.
talking. So you had mentioned with Tyler the Creator how you wanted to. One thing you were hoping was that Drake allow instruments to play for like a while, and I do think that that's something he did when it comes to Pimmy's Dilemma, which you talked about, and Greedy. Like there was an
Yeah.
extensive point where the music and instrumentals just played by themselves. So when you mentioned production on your second listen, Drew, that made my heart smile.
They tried some things after "Give Me a Hug." "Give Me a Hug" was a change in the album, like a direct.
Oh, I was
change.
gonna say I forgot. I went on a tangent, but "Give Me a Hug," I liked it because it's like you have the instrument or the acapella, which I didn't like, but then you have when the beat drops, it's like, oh shit, okay, you're getting a little bit of the rapping, but then the third part where he starts to do the singing on the, I don't know why I like that so much, but like that song, like it's just fire. So I like that, but at the same time, I feel like Gerard kind of mentioned it a little bit, but the beat switch ups, there's certain parts or certain songs where like the beat switch up isn't needed, and like
It's
he
not
could have let
necessary.
he could have let
With no,
like
for instance, Nokia, it was unnecessary.
the beat,
The
the
beat
original
was fire
beat,
alone.
he could have
Yeah.
kept that
Yes.
the whole
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But like
It was
I
fire.
think there's certain fans out there that enjoy the beat switching, but I think it gets to a point where it's like, okay, like it's kind of being overdone. So that's one thing where I'm like, yeah, there's certain songs where that wasn't necessary.
Let me say something real quick about that.
Yeah.
No beat. It's got to be one of the best beats ever if they do it. If any artist does it, but nothing's gonna hit like Sicko Mode. And I think that's what Drake's trying for in a lot of these tracks, to have that like effect right when it hits. I'm like, bro, you don't need that every time. Like you said many podcasts ago, it's getting overplayed at this point. You know?
Yeah. I also had in my notes, like, I feel like we get to a point sometimes where we feel like, I seen Ebro, like, saying, like, not getting over your overspending habits. It was like a shot that he took, basically, like, as a sickness, like, not evolving from a certain point. And I feel like we go down a slippery slope where we talk about, like, artists as, you know, they're, I guess, outside of the music. And the best example I have from that is, like, people forget. Everybody loves Marvin Gaye, but, like, Marvin Gaye was a hopeless romantic that was miserable and did drugs to, like, cover that pain. But that was part of what made Marvin as a singer so great. So, like, because as time passes and certain people pass away, it's like we forget, like, there was trouble within their lives. So I just don't feel like that's a part of, you know, this all supposed to be entertainment. Like, it ain't supposed to get personal. I feel like with Drake, some of the discord has gotten personal, and that's what kind of annoys me at certain times. So I just had to throw
So
that in there.
the thing that I'll push back on you, then he shouldn't talk about it in his music. If you're gonna dismiss it in your music, talking about the reason you're not married is because I'm chasing his career, this, that, and the other. If you are such a hopeless romantic, don't lie in your music. Then that's the only thing I'm gonna say, because you give people the discourse to start picking. Like as an entertainer and living in your life in the spotlight, and you dating in the spot like this, that, and the other, when you start talking about things in your music, you give people the ammunition to pick at it. So I like, you can't say like with Marvin, I agree with you. He was a hopeless romantic. He put in his music as well, but he also wasn't like contradicting himself in his music as well. When Marvin talked about on Hear My Dear and talked about his divorce, he talked about everything in that divorce. When what's going on, he talked about everything in his relationship. So like I don't like the comparison that you just did with Marvin and Drake. I understand the point that you was trying to make, but Drake is not like a martyr. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a regular human being. Like when he puts stuff in there, like as the entertainer that he is, and as a person in the spotlight, we gonna pick at it. People gonna talk about it. He's a 38-year-old man that kind of got to deal with some things and stop like putting mask on to act as if like, oh, I'm just making all this money, I'm a big star, nothing bothers me. Clearly something is bothering you, because every other line is like, if you're looking at his lyrics, is I kind of want a relationship, I'm not sure how I'll be able to fit into it, and then the next line is him being a womanizer. Like that's what people are talking about, where it's like a maturity thing. So
but that's real. But that's real shit though. Like,
okay, but so if it's real, B, then it's when people give like their input, that's real too. Like,
but it's not about not giving input. What it's about is the fact that we miss out on the fact that this is hip hop, and while there's differences between Marvin Gaye and R&B and Drake and hip hop, a lot of hip hop is portraying an image that we all know isn't real. Similar to
that's not Drake. That's not Drake though.
That is a part of Drake. That's why that's. And I'm glad we're having this discussion, because it's like Drake is hip hop, but he's also a bigger artist than that. But at the same time, like, there's a lot of people out there that one minute they do want a relationship, but the next minute they realize they don't. And then it goes back and forth. So like, I can connect with that, but I also do. It is contradicting, but like a lot of people out here live contradicting lives. Like, I feel like it's one of those things where it's like Drake don't do that, but like it's a lot of people out here that do that shit. Like a lot. And there's a lot of people that's in relationships that should be single. Like it goes both ways, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But
so I agree with you. What I'm saying that there are better approaches to that. It's better ways. Like if he's going to communicate these things, Drake communicate these things as if he's a 25-year-old man when he's 38 years old. So like people are looking at him like, hey, as a 38-year-old man, you probably shouldn't be talking like this. You probably shouldn't be thinking like this. Your growth seems stunted. That's what I'm saying. Like everything that you're saying is correct. I'm saying that at his age now, it's like he shouldn't be talking about it the way that he's talking about it. He's not a kid. You know what I'm saying? He's a grown man. Like in the industry, he should have better ways of coping and communicating and like handling these things. Or even if you're going to put in your music and you are waffling between whether you should be in a relationship or not, it's better. Like he has better ways that he can wrap that up and put a bow on top of it and say like, all right, this is I can give y'all a better interpretation of what I'm going through in life right now. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what people are asking from him. Like, so you can't like, and I think that's the issue that people have a lot of times with Drake, is that no one is pushing him to be more accountable. It's just like, well, you know, it is what it is. Like everybody's saying like, yeah, he can whatever, like coddling him in a sense. Like, and that's what I'm asking for, is like, grow up. That's literally it. Just grow up. Like, cause he still seems like he's stuck in the same mindset that he would be in. Like he released, Take Care 15 years ago. He still sound like it's the same mindset. Like regardless of the music, like it's still stuck. Like he's still stuck right there. Like if you take Marvin's Room and like 15 years later, I'm pretty sure it will sound the same on this album. And that's what people are frustrated about as far as like how he's communicating his music, because it's still a communication device. Like when you talk about your music, like so that's what people like. Feel like his growth is stunted.
So I guess I have a couple questions to that, because one is like, what does a grown-up Drake sound like? What does a mature Drake sound like if he's still not married, he has a kid but it's out of wedlock? Like what?
So,
I guess
like, and that's cool. I'm not saying like having a kid out of wedlock. It's a bunch of, I know men older than him who still do things, but what I don't like is still saying like, oh, I'm going to strip clubs. You got the bitches need a dictionary to read your verses. That's childish. Why are
Bro, that's funny. Like, at what point is a bar?
That's not funny for a 38-year-old man. That's
I
funny
disagree.
that's funny for these
Talking about
YNs.
pussy parachuting in the club. And
Yeah,
shit
that's
like
not
that.
that's bro.
Because
That's
at the
not
same
funny.
time, my pushback has to be: we're all excited for Pusha T's next album. We all know what the fuck Pusha T is going to talk about.
Bro,
like,
that's not the same thing.
the subject matter. I think it is. The subject matter is not going to change from what we heard back in the albums that y'all recommended for me. What's the difference I'm going to get between that Pusha T?
Because
and what
no,
we talking
because
about now?
listen, because we're talking about like that. We're talking about two different artists, and I don't want you comparing it to something else. I'm talking about Drake. So when I say
My
Drake,
comparison is there's no comparison where we do this for other artists. That's what my comparison
but
is.
it is because I still hear people talking about, I still hear people talking about Pusha T only talks about coke raps. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like I hear people saying that, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying
But
Drake
that's
can
what I'm
talk
saying.
about heart. I'm saying Drake can talk about heartbreak. I'm saying shit like that is childish. That's what I'm saying.
I guess Rick Ross' whole career is based on a lie. Like, I guess that's what like we're expecting accountability from Drake that we don't require from other artists, and that's what I don't fully understand. Because if it's not for Pusha T, Young Jeezy, like Nas, even with Nas, most of his material content, like he talks about being a father on certain songs, but a lot of the songs you hear, even that we loved during his recent streak, was the same content, was the same shit he was talking about on his classic albums. Like, we don't
but
require
it's more
this.
mature. Like the people that you're naming. If I talk about Nas, if I talk about Eminem, if I talk about Jay-Z, like
Eminem,
even if you talk,
Eminem is a
if
great
you,
example.
even if you talk about,
Eminem
even
is a
if you
great
talk,
example. But that's not the norm, is what Eminem's a
no,
great
but
example.
so
Jay-Z's a
that's
great
my
example.
point, and that's the frustrating point. We're talking about greats, and you're comparing greats against greats. If Drake is one of the greats, then we expect him to mature in his music. If he stays on the same level, then he's stunted as an artist. He's
I don't
not
think we do that for all
he's
the
not
greats.
moving up the like just because you do numbers. If your art remains on the same level, you're not up there with those greats.
I don't
So
think
yes,
all
I
greats
expect
are required to do that.
you don't have to, and that's fine. This is why
No,
I'm
I'm
not
saying
listening
the
to Drake
general
no more.
public. I don't think the general
And
public
that's
requires
and that's fine. But I'm telling you, my perspective and why the people who be talking all that shit on Twitter, I'm telling you from their perspective, this is why. Because
But
if
you
you're
don't
not,
sound
if y'all not gonna
inconsistent?
ask, if all y'all want to do is shake y'all ass like y'all 23 years old again and listen to some dumbass shit like the stripper's gonna be on stage reading dictionary, then that's where the fuck he gonna be at, and he ain't never gonna give y'all nothing else. That's it.
We haven't required this from all the greats, is what my point is.
Yes, we have. I just
We
told you
haven't.
what
I
niggas were
only
saying
did-
about
You gave
Jay-Z.
me, there's always going to be
Right,
outliers, Gerard.
right,
That's
and,
what I'm trying to
bro.
paint.
I'm telling you. All right, man.
No,
I'm
'cause
telling you what I
Jay-Z
know.
did-
I'm telling you what I know.
You're giving me your point of view. I'm saying the general public doesn't require this from great artists in the way that you
Yes,
require
they
it.
do, B.
No,
Yes,
don't.
they do.
Nobody asked DMX to mature in his music or change his content as his career grew. That wasn't a requirement. Nobody asked Biggie. Nobody asked Tupac. They gave you the same shit over their career, and it was great. Like, nobody asked them to
Biggie's
grow
unfair.
up.
You can't do that.
And
to Biggie.
and Tupac, because they all gave you different things, and you're wrong. So like that's what I'm saying. Like
How am I wrong?
you keep
What?
saying all this shit, but you're
Bro,
wrong.
when
So
Tupac first started, did he not give you Brenda a baby? Brenda had a baby.
yes,
Maybe
and that's
he
why
did-
when he's
His-
and that's
no, hold
why
on, let
and
me
that's
finish.
why.
No, let me finish. So at the end of his career, when he's talking about gang shit that he wasn't really about, when he's talking about all the fucking hoes, like when he was secretly married, there was an image he had to portray in which we didn't require him to evolve. We didn't require him to all of a sudden talk about what it's like to be an older artist the way that you're asking Drake, and that's why I feel like it's inconsistent. That's not something we
It's not
we ask
inconsistent.
artists-
He did
And
all
you know,
that
and the
shit
crazy
within, like,
thing,
a
and the
5,
crazy
6
thing
year
about this shit
period, though.
is you're pointing out like different minute things, but you ain't listen to these artists because I was, and like the
Right.
Machiavelli album. If you
But you
listen to
didn't
that
disprove
album,
anything I just
but
said.
like listen to what the fuck I'm saying first.
No,
before
because
you
I'm
just
not-
saying
you
something.
can always
Like,
give me examples of what
because I'm
proves your
trying to
point, but
tell
you-
you, but you talking,
told
so
me
you
other
can't
examples we have
talk and
required
listen
to.
at the same time.
Which is what you did
that doesn't
previously
work.
when I had to
But-
tell you to
and
let me
I'm
listen.
but you're not saying
That's what I'm
anything
talking
correct,
about.
so it doesn't matter. Like, so what I'm
I don't
saying,
know how
like,
you feel like
you
you're
talked
right when you
about
give
Brenda
me
has a
examples
baby.
and I give you
talked
more
about Brenda
of the
has a
same
baby.
thing.
You talked about Brenda has a baby,
Yeah.
and you said like how he got to he started talking about the gangbanger stuff. But within those albums,
What's the gangbanger?
Tupac was he's talking about talking about drugs and
Shit that he
violence and all
wasn't
that
about.
stuff. Within those albums, if you listen to those Tupac songs, he's still talking about being a black nationalist. He's still talking about the community. And even on the Machiavelli album, he's still talking about uplifting his people. So just because the songs that he's around, yes, he's going to talk about that type of lifestyle because he's around those people right then, but he still had other shit in there.
And that's what he was portraying. That's where the frustration lied with Tupac. But nobody slandered him or talked about he wasn't great anymore because he still portrayed a life that he wasn't really about. Like,
But
that's
you gotta
what's
understand,
frustrating.
he did this all in like a 5-year period. This huge transition. Then he died. He didn't.
And this
have
is 14. This is 14 albums in for Drake.
Yeah.
So like if you get
Pac didn't
14
have that
albums
time
and you
to be
still talking
questioned
about
like
the
that.
same shit.
But if Tupac, bro, all like you said with the post-hummus like albums, it was still the same quality. There were still people out there that said he was still one. There's still people now that talks about his post-death work being great, and it wasn't very different from some of the other projects that we've talked about on the podcast. Biggie only released the 2 albums, so I can't really use that. But when I use Nas as an example, do y'all think his content mature or sounds any different from
Nas-
his?
Yes, he's matured.
Listen, a prime
I-
example with Nas. He even talks about it on one of his songs. How he even admits now that he talks about rich things that he couldn't when he was growing up because he was dirt poor. That's maturity.
But at a young age, Nas already was talking about investing in ways other artists wasn't talking about. So like, yes,
he was talking investing in drugs and shit like that. He's not talking about investing
No.
like he's in the businesses right now.
He talks about investing way earlier than certain artists did, which is a stamp of maturity. But at the same time, he's still talking about a lot of the content that you will hear on some of his other albums that I listened to 2 years ago. So what I enjoyed when we talked about how Nas had like a revival, it was the beat change. It was the producers he was working with. The content didn't switch up that much, in my opinion, from what he first put out and was called classics. Like, I don't think across the board we ask artists in the way that Gerard is saying that we do. I use DMX.
But
Am I
even
wrong with
I'm
that too?
saying even Drake, when the stuff, the content can be whatever, but the way that you're rapping about it is still the same. It's the same. It's the same. Like he hasn't changed at all. That's what I'm saying. In
Still talking about
14
taking
projects,
girls, dudes, still talking about the strip
bros,
clubs,
or
still-
like or still
I
chasing
mean-
the girl, trying to get the girl back. The content is the content. Like nothing, everything is the same. Nothing really changes much. But you can change the way how you communicate it. He's not communicating it any differently. It's the same as before. So people are expecting him to mature. Even as you grow and mature, your outlook on life changes. You know this as a person. So if your outlook's not changing, then your maturity is stunted. That's what people are saying. Like, so I'm not even saying he needs to talk about something different. You could talk about the same thing differently.
I mean, you can. I guess there's certain songs on this album, like once we talk about certain songs, to where I can say I haven't heard Drake try this before. To where I guess that's why I disagree. Where it's like,
Give me
when
an
you talk
example.
about-
Give me an example where you say you haven't seen Drake talk like that before.
Meet Your Padre. I haven't heard that Drake before.
That's terrible.
Spanish straight. That shit's awful.
That's awful.
That's
I
I mean, you made your point. You made your point, but that shit is god
See,
awful.
that's why I'm like, okay, I respect, because Drew always talks about like,
trying something.
I don't expect him to do the vocal pushing that Drew's looking for, but like, I can honestly say on Some Sexy Songs for You, on Certified Lover Boy, on For All the Dogs, there's songs on there that's like Drake we haven't heard before. But if it's trash, then it's like, well, I mean, he got to try better. Like that's what the feedback typically is. What's the other one that I liked? Die Trying is not different, but I don't know if I would say it's the same as some other songs that he's released. But those are the two examples that initially come to my mind where it's like, okay, he tried something different.
All right. I don't know what to say. I mean,
I do think Eminem is a great example, but like I said that on the album, like that's not the norm. I think Life and Death of Slim Shady, I think 444, and Gerard, to your point, I could be wrong because I haven't heard this material from certain artists. So if that's the case, I will apologize when I listen to that work. But I don't think we hold everybody to this standard, and I do think Nas was broke, but like a lot of shit he was talking about in the albums that I listened to finally way too late, like Illmatic, like Nas was ahead of his time, almost in like a Nipsey Hussle kind of way, but he won't get the credit for certain things he talks about. He talks about empowering the community.
I think people do give Nas the credit because he was at 19, he was way more mature than what a 19-year-old would rap about. So that was the appeal with Nas, is that he was ahead of his time.
I meant more like, you know how we talked about how Nipsey had like the QR codes on his shirts. So if you went into the store, like it could put, like with certain investments he made, like he was one of the first people that believed in the Ring camera system. Like I meant that type of investing savviness, where it's like a lot of people don't associate Nas to those things versus like what you just alluded to in his maturity overall content wise. But yes, I do agree with that. But
but Nas was also like, so here's the thing that I think you missed, like listening to Nas from the beginning till now. When Nas was talking about things when the content may have been similar, but he was talking about things that he saw going on in his projects. Like he was like they call it griots now. They call it griots from Africa, like a storyteller. You was telling the story of the village. That's what Nas was. Like now he's talking about the life that he's living from his perspective, because he couldn't tell that story then. He couldn't tell about his life then. So he's told about the people that he knew, the gangsters that he was around. Now that story is like, okay, I told you the story back then. Now let me tell you my story now from Illmatic to now. That's what Nas is doing now. So yes, the story has changed.
He did take a shot with Distant Relatives, and it worked. Like that was a complete different sound. Like the content, he went from content, like Gerard was saying, like telling stories about like the hood and shit. He went to talk about issues globally at that point. Like that's mature in its own way. Like he was talking about comparisons in America to Africa to like the islands in Jamaica and all that. At the same time on that album, he's trying party music at the same time and shit that like tries to get played in the club, but it didn't really. But
I mean he tried club music.
Well, yeah, as we enter a bop. Like as
also,
I'm
talking about before that.
I'm saying, but I'm just saying that album was taking a big shot, a big risk for him at that time.
Yeah, you know? That was a different sound. Like
exactly.
You know, and bridging the gap with his father. You know what I'm saying?
Big
like
sound.
that was a different
he
sound.
He incorporated jazz into it.
I also think, I don't know if this goes down the mature, but like when you talk about different sounds, I think Drake's House album that you originally liked, Gerard, and a lot of people didn't like, was taking a chance. And it's like, even then, he dropped that. Most people said it was trash. Most people says he's trying to be something he's not. It's like, that's why I get so passionate when it comes to like, I guess maturing or try, because the difference with Drake, I think he did the opposite of what most artists do. He attracted you because he was vulnerable. He was talking about a lot of that real shit early on. But I think similarly to J. Cole, they had to embrace like this, I'm not unsure of myself. It's more so like, I'm at the top now. I can't really be moving like I was moving at first. But I do think J. Cole has a more mature content-wise. But like, there's still times he hops on a track and talks about the same bullshit. It's just not as much. But
yeah,
I see more growth.
And like that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't mind you talking about the same stuff. If Drake wants to make a party record and talk about strip clubs, cool. But I just don't think he's like. Here's the issue I have. He made Honestly Nevermind. He got backlash for that. Like maybe didn't get the feedback that he wanted to get from people, and he cowered and went back to the tried and true recipe. I think that's pussy. Like I feel like it shouldn't matter as an artist whether you get feedback from like the public or not, if they liked it or disliked it. If you are as good as your craft as you say you are, you keep pushing the pendulum. Like you keep pushing like to see like what work, what doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? Like push your creative mode. I don't think he's doing that. I think he only wants to appease the masses to keep getting the numbers. You know, I'm like that's what I'm saying. Like it's going to be copy and paste
anymore.
No,
I don't.
Not at all. It's
no, I do. I absolutely do not. And
music.
That's the thing that frustrates me the most. I absolutely do not think he cares about the craft. I think it's only the business of Drake at this moment right now. And you can hear it like if you sit and listen to his lyrics, he's telling you that shit.
Well, he does state, he says like, I forget the line, but it's basically like, this is something like dropped for my fans. And that's when I agree when you said like, if you like Drake, like you're gonna like this album, but if you don't, you don't. Like that's why I'm not frustrated, because I do feel like for too long there's been too many requests of Drake doing stuff differently or like trying. I personally am okay if he decides to keep dropping, but I don't view that as lazy or like chasing the bag. I just view that as like I can't win, so I'm gonna stick to what I enjoy. But at the same time, he will sprinkle it. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I hear you, but I think it's also, if it's broke, don't fix it. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like if it's working, if you find yourself as like a Drake, like if you're a Drake fan or something like that, and you feel like I enjoy what you're doing, you ain't never got to stop doing this, then he's going to keep doing that. Regardless if he says like stunted, you know what I'm saying? Like he's going to keep doing the same thing over and over because you're going to keep purchasing it. And because you said like, well, he ain't got to make a classic or nothing. And I agree with you. He don't have to make a classic. But if you're not expecting anything much more than him, like the line is low. He ain't got to do much. Like there's no energy exerted if the only thing you're expecting is like what he's already done.
He's
like,
at the
hey,
point
he can
where
keep giving me
whenever
this.
it drops, it's gonna go number one, no matter
it's
what
gonna,
it
like,
is.
because you're gonna listen to it anyway. You're gonna enjoy it anyway. It don't even matter. So like me explaining it that way, that's what I'm saying. He's not even trying, because the base of Drake is gonna be like, well, I fuck with it because I'm gonna listen to it regardless.
What I'm used to.
What I'm used to.
I feel like most of the beginning of the first 10 years, like we saw, it's almost like, I feel like looking at it as like LeBron, right? Like some people have MJ as their GOAT, some people have Bron as their GOAT, but like nobody's looking at Bron in year 22 like, you know what I want to see from LeBron? I want to see him like show me this in a post. Like, I guess that's how I look at it. Like, when it came to Michael Jordan, it was like, bro, whatever Michael Jordan gave you after those 6 championships was like, just added, accomplishments. Even LeBron himself said, whatever I do at this point, like, is added accomplishments. Like, I don't know everybody that's done as much in his career that's still being asked to do more when he's already done so much. Like, and not from an accomplishment standpoint. I'm talking like,
I hate to bring it up, but Kanye, that original 6 album run, the reason why he never got any flack from anything is because each album was such a step up and so unique from the next, and it's something you didn't hear before. Like, that's why he never got any flack for those.
808s, I feel like he did. It was a project that a lot of people liked overall, but it was a lot of people were like skeptical.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Can we say, to Gerard's point when he said like Drake was pussy and basically went back to what was working, like, was the 808 sound like something that stayed with Kanye moving forward? Like he
altered it more.
Even it influenced a lot of people.
Yeah,
so if Kanye hadn't dropped that album,
no cutting.
Listen, I can't keep making an album that everybody's making. So after Kanye dropped 808, then everybody started making shit like 808.
Right.
So like Kanye had to
where
do
does
something
Kanye
else.
go from here?
Yeah, now I got to do something else.
Like,
now, but I promise you, if people wouldn't have latched on to 808s like that, then he would have kind of like pushed it more.
Yeah.
Because like the same thing he did with Yeezus. That was a whole new sound. Ain't nobody heard no shit like that before. And then people start making shit that sound like that. So like you'll see Kanye like, all right, I'm not going to stay on the same track. I'm going to keep like, which is why in 2012 Drake said that Kanye is the only person that I'm competing with. I think Drake got to the pinnacle of views and said like, ain't nobody fucking with me, and kind of just like stayed the course. Like he felt like he didn't have to push himself anymore because he felt like he was the best. So like that's why I feel like since views, he ain't really had to push himself no more. He did honestly, never mind. It didn't work, and he was like, "Nah, let me go back to what's working." So that's what I've been saying about him the whole time.
So if we could change things and he do what you would want him to do versus being pussy, is it continuing to drop music like that and shift to that as an artist, like that being your main thing? Like, what have been the continuation that would have satisfied you from an artistic point of view, to where you wouldn't be as disappointed or let down in Drake as you are now?
So Drake honestly can't do nothing for me. Like I appreciate artists like a Kanye or a Kendrick who when they make an album, that album is specifically about where they are at right now, and it's not trying to like suffice the world. Like when you speak about that Meet Your Padre song, I think Drake did that because like he would want that part of the world to listen to his music. They're gonna feel attached to it, so now it adds more to his numbers and stuff like that. It's a business game. Like I don't think he's making.
So you don't think he did that from like a let me see how I can do this as an artist?
No.
You think it was strictly
So let me compete with Bad Bunny's numbers.
Because exactly, that's exactly what he's doing. That I think that, and I think from a fan point of view, you dismiss that because like you just thinking like, but I think he's thinking further ahead. Like Bad Bunny technically is the biggest artist in the world right now.
Yeah.
If I can tap into that audience, then I will be put over there. Drake also is like he made a
negative thing though.
Hold on, I got another example. You see, he's going to the Wireless Festival, right? And the second day is Drake Mandem, right? He also has a drill record. You know who's also a big artist that's getting a lot of like run right now? What's my man? Yes,
Central C.
Central C. Yeah. And you heard Drake rapping like that on this album. If I can tap into that, then I can get those people over there. Even though the UK already been fucking with Drake, but even if I can get that flow a little bit, that drill flow, it'll put me into that audience. This is all a numbers game. I don't think he's truly passionate about any of these audiences. It's about if I can put my product in that market, put my product in that market. You know what I'm saying? Like this will help me, and it probably has a little bit to do with what he got going on with UMG, so that if he does get like put off the label, I still got markets I can sell my records in. It was none of this. It's about the music. None.
Can I? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna ask, can I push back on that and ask if you're looking at that with pure hip hop glasses on, like you would look at any hip hop pure hip hop artist, if you have these glasses on as to what a hip hop artist should do versus just looking at it with glasses from a musician standpoint. So say instead of, I'm not going to disagree with you. He could for sure be looking at securing more bags. I don't disagree with that at all. Is there not a possibility where there's also a musician side of him that's like, let me try these different things and see if I'm capable of that too? So similar to the house music, like we mentioned, like, I mean, Drake has always talked about being a fan of battle rap. He's always talked about being a fan of, Top Boy? Like, that could be him. And I could see how this would appear as coddling, so I apologize. But like, I'm trying to look at it from I look at Drake like a Bruno Mars that also at the same time can bar you up. So that's where it's confusing for me.
I hear you, but if Drake wanted to do that, if it's just about bridging the gap between hip hop and anybody else, why don't you feature those artists? Why don't you, instead of you trying it, because that's not my lane. That's not your lane. You know damn well that's your thing. If you want to make that type of record, or if you like, hey, I want to collaborate with that because I'm a fan of you, feature those artists.
Can I piggyback off that real fast, Rod? And I was going to say, too, feature those artists, listen to their sound, and if it's really about the craft, make an album like Tyler's been making. You know, that's for the love
make
of music.
your music, invite them into your world.
That's for music.
Into your world. And then that will give people like the spotlight that's probably not like these. Drake already has a huge audience.
Yeah.
You bring those people over to you, then you already inviting into those world. You duplicating that kinds of shits on what they're doing. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're also not making good quality music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just like, oh, let me just try some shit. When you could just go over there, he already friends with those dudes, B.
But he does have examples of what you at. It's just not on this album, which is why I can't disagree with you.
But no, like, you right. Because, like, he had, what's his name? Baka or whatever, like, doing that type of shit on More Life.
You laughed about last night.
So if that shit didn't work with Baka, like what makes you think you doing it with your voice is gonna work? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
what if there's a part of that cocky part of being an artist where it's like, let me see if I can't do this better versus let me try to steal. I mean, I can see both sides, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I don't necessarily disagree with you. I try to look at it from an artistic standpoint of Drake is more than hip hop. But at the same time, you're saying like even when it comes to his hip hop, like there's no growth there.
No,
I think
he thinks he's more than hip hop too. Like I don't think he thinks like
he's R&B and pop. He thinks that. I
think he thinks I think he's a pop star. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Drake is not. He's far beyond.
Let me tell you this too. With that, let's take the goggles off of hip hop. Let's take the goggles off now of being a Drake fan. This album in particular, if you play it for anybody random on the street, I guarantee they're gonna say it's shit. Just you're talking about shit on you.
I don't know.
There's nothing musical about this album, man.
Like, I don't know if they would though, Drew. I think you're coming from the standpoint of like y'all talked about earlier. Like we've heard this Drake before. If you're going to a person that's never heard Take Care, Views, X, Y, and Z, and you present this music to them, they don't have these previous projects to where they can be like,
you're right.
True.
Yeah, they don't have nothing to compare it to.
So if I'm going to a person that's never heard Drake and be like, hey, listen to this album, let me know what you think. I think they come across more impressed than you do, Drew, versus I've heard Views. I've heard If You're Reading This Too Late. I've heard all these, which are better overall projects. But like it's redundant. I think it's more redundant to you versus being bad music. What I'm
agree.
I'm not hearing any of the passion for music
I don't think
in it though. That's the thing.
But that's you coming from a different. Yeah, you coming from a different perspective, Drew. Yeah,
like you're looking for the hunger, or like Tyler, for example. I think that's a great example. I think the thing that's forgotten with Tyler is Tyler had what? I won't say 10, but he had that career before he started to take his craft seriously, and now we've seen, 3 or 4 albums maybe, where it's like, dude, this is what music's supposed to be like. But we forget, before he did that, it's arguable he was kind of dropping the same no growth, the same, like...
I disagree, and I challenge you guys still to go listen to Wolf, because I'm telling you, there's so much growth in that second album from his first.
Well, I wouldn't say he was dropping the same thing, but I think that Tyler was still trying to figure it out.
Anything he ever made.
That's what I'm saying. Like what we've seen from Tyler, we saw that previously from Drake, to where that's not what he's doing anymore. Like when he first came out, it was different. It was captivating. So we saw that stretch of his career for let's say 8 years.
Yeah.
So like I'm not requiring him to still do that at this point because Tyler's now doing that when Tyler wasn't. I don't think Tyler was doing that or taking his craft seriously the way he was now early in his career is what I'm trying to say. Like Drake had that point of his career to where I'm not requiring that from him now, being year 17, 18,
I think
whatever.
You should, though. I think you should always keep trying to mature.
Or how about this?
Or grow as an artist.
Drake is where he is right now. What do you look forward from Drake? If Drake continue to make the same thing over and over again, would it matter to you, or do you look for anything else from him?
It would matter to me. I've said before I would like to see Drake tap into something like
gospel. You said
gospel. Yes, yeah. I would love to see him take a chance like that, but if he doesn't, I'm okay. But I would like to see that.
So that's the point we're making. I think a lot of people are like you, B. If Drake can stay like this forever, and people will be perfectly fine, and I think he knows that. So like that's where he's at. Like he can stay right here at this point right here, not push himself musically, stay right here because no matter what, y'all gonna be okay. Not even like it's just like the food like analogy I just gave. Yeah, the food he's giving y'all right now is just enough for y'all. Yeah, y'all don't need much more from him.
But there's some people out there that love leftover chili. Where it's just like, hey,
and that's
you can't eat it every day though.
Yeah,
you'll get sick.
You can't. But then again, you gonna have them splashes of, like I said, the Meet Your Padre, where it's like, this is something different. I didn't like it, but I tried something different. But I'm gonna go right back to that chili until I decide I need something new. But it's like the longevity of his career. Like you don't see this often, so I don't know how many true comparisons we can make. But, like, I think it goes back to when Drew says, like, I still need that one more classic from X artist. Like, I don't think we always need that. Like, I think
I do later in your career. As an artist, I feel like you should have a couple earlier in your bag that are classics, and I feel you should have one later. That's exactly that. I feel that with every artist, or at least try something and grow with, I don't know, some new sound. Like, we take Snoop, for example. Like, look how many times he's tried different genres. They haven't all worked, but some hit and sound good, you know? Like, just dip into...
Yeah, Drew, but Snoop do it for the love.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like,
he ain't got to make music if he don't want to, but he makes music.
And that's what's
he
sad about
music.
Drake being as big as he is as an artist.
But
like,
I think with Drake, it's not like I said, and, you know, B can disagree, whatever, but I don't think Drake loves music. I don't think he's in love with making the music. Music is the business. This is his job. You know, like, so when he goes in there, he's good at it. You know, I think he proved in the beginning of his career about his love for music. I think he's not at that point anymore. I think he's long beyond that. I think this is his job. He's making this type of music to sustain his business. You know, because like, and he's taking the money from music and investing it in other things. Like, he's no longer, his passion is not in the music and making music anymore. So like, that's just where we at. And since we're there, like I no longer am going to listen to his music. I'm done.
Are fans like me what's wrong with hip hop?
No, not at all.
No, because I don't. Drake is not hip hop, so I'm not. This is Drake is the same as a Beyonce, as a Taylor Swift. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like.
That's a good point. I was just gonna say, I had in my notes, like, I feel like the thing that bothers me is we don't see this in other genres the way that we see this, quote unquote, in hip hop, despite Drake being more than hip hop. Like you said, you will never hear people saying like the type of negative things you hear about Taylor Swift because, and again, this could be another educated opinion because I haven't listened to full projects, but like, she's releasing the same shit. Her fans are crazy.
I disagree. This year, I've heard people say that about Taylor. I've heard them say the Tortured Poets sound like old shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, I disagree. Like, but
I personally have heard that, but that's fair.
But, yeah, I mean, but I have. You know what I'm saying? And Drew, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I've heard people say, yeah. So, like, I think that if you start making the same thing over and over, and you're not giving people like a different, like, something to look forward to, they will start saying like, yo, like, we feel like you just giving us the same shit over and over again. And I think that's what we get into with Drake, because I'm not looking at Drake from a hip hop perspective. Drake is a pop star. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like, I think he's just using this platform. And a lot of times with pop stars, they fizzle out. Mm-hmm. They fizzle out, and then they just work on, like, we don't hear Jennifer Lopez albums no more. Like, she's on to other things. You know what I'm saying? We don't hear Britney Spears. We don't hear Christina Aguilera. They fizzle out because you can't keep copying and pasting. People gonna stop listening to that shit.
I'm actually going to use Eminem as an example right now, because he was getting in that trend where he was using a lot of those classic rock samples, making a hit out of it. The album would do well, but a lot of people are like, dude, it's not it anymore. Like, Marshall Mathers LP2 is when I really started noticing it. Revival was absolute dog shit of an album, and he was just reaching and trying to appease to so many people that didn't work. But here's the thing I'm going to say with you and Drake. You love your artists. That's fine. Gerard loves Jay. I love M. I love a lot of artists like that are goats to me. There's a point to them where, yes, they start making shitty music, but when they make a hit, like, I'm going to take Death of Slim Shady, for example, a lot of those fans come back out of the woodworks and be like, wow, this is what I really missed from this artist. And I feel like Drake needs to do that in the next album or two to bring all those fans back. I don't think he will, though.
But didn't a lot of those artists come back out the woodworks because essentially Slim Shady stopped trying to do the different bullshit and went back to what made people fall in love with him?
He was always doing weird shit along the way.
Yeah, he was always doing that. I think he
didn't completely lose it.
Yeah, I think he put together a really good body of work.
He did. He put time and craft into it, you know? It's something he was passionate about, and going to that. If that's his last album ever, like, what a great way to go out. But, like, let's take Music to Be Murdered by... It's phenomenal. Let's take Music to Be Murdered by Gerard. We like that album, but
we did.
I've heard that before from M, you know? I heard that on, let's take Kamikaze. Kamikaze was a surprise album that came out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. The thing he did different on that album is from start to finish, he was rapping fast as fuck, rapping his ass off. And he hasn't done that on every single song like that ever on an album, which is why it was called Kamikaze, you know? He was going in just nonstop. There was a lot of energy. But before that, with Marshall Mathers LP2, I heard that album before. Like, it was nothing new. Like, you went back and tried to dig into the bag of your original MMLP, but it was nothing like it at all. Like, your sound completely changed after you made Recovery. But that's what I'm saying. I feel like this project to you, or even maybe for all the dogs for you, is your relapse. You're going to hold on to that no matter what people are saying outside, calling it dog shit. He fell off, worst artist ever. This guy's a joke. You're going to love that album still. Like, people dog the shit out of Relapse. I fucking love it. Like, I'm a super junky fan towards it, you know? Like, you can't tell me shit about it.
I think one thing we've also said, like, similar to what you guys are saying as far as, like, Drake does the same thing, we always see the same reaction that we've talked about for a few albums now, where it's like, people have said that they dislike an album. Time goes on. It's like, you know what? I actually do enjoy this if they go back and listen to it more than I originally did. So, like, there's always going to be not the best.
I don't see people saying that for All the Dogs Are Her Loss, though. You know, I think people are finally starting to realize.
I think people are saying that for,
Certified.
Wait, was Her Loss the dance album? There's a lot of people.
Her Loss was the 21 Savage album.
21 Savage.
Not Her Loss. The dance album for Drake.
Honestly, never mind.
Honestly, never mind. And me being one of them, like, I did not like that when it dropped. I think that album now gets a lot more love, way more love than it got when it first dropped.
It's only getting more love because you're hearing more dance records in the album, so you go back to that to see where the inception was from. So you're going back and listening to Honestly Nevermind because it's more like he has more records in the albums that follow that sound like that. So you're like, all right, well, if I'm kind of liking that, maybe I should go back and hear this to see what he did. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but I don't think that.
I will say ultimately, to both you guys' points, as to what I'm expecting next, if the next album sounds like the other albums basically we're alluding to now, which is this point of Drake, I would be disappointed. I do think after this discussion, I guess one thing that I enjoyed about this album is the fact that I feel like Kendrick woke up certain parts of Drake that reminded me of previous projects that I did enjoy. I do think there's songs from this album that sound like they either were originally supposed to be on or could have been on Scorpion. I think the same thing, Dry, you said there's a song on the album that sounds like Marvin's Room. But, like, I don't mind that a song reminds me of a song that I previously enjoyed. I think with you, it's like, if I wanted this, I'd just go back and listen to Marvin's Room.
Yeah.
So I get that. So I guess ultimately, I think this ended up being a great discussion. But, like, yes, I do. The next album I am expecting to hear. But that's the thing. Like, it's not that I want to be like, oh, I need this whole album stuff to sound like stuff I've never heard from Drake ever. But I guess I do hear what you're saying, Gerard.
You need to step up a little bit from this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I'm glad you're not championing it and calling it like an amazing album. You know,
and I
wouldn't lie to y'all like that.
I hope for you get that. I just don't. I don't think Drake is motivated.
I want it, Gerard.
If he wasn't,
I'm joking.
Listen, here's the thing, and this is the perspective I'm coming from. If that battle with Kendrick didn't motivate him enough to get to where it's at, like, it didn't motivate him to rap. The first thing that Drake did was sue Universal because clearly, like, people got to be against him. It can't be because, like, I lost the rap battle. Like, so, like, and Pusha T wasn't enough of a threat. Like, I got more, like, vigor from him losing to Pusha T and him putting out Scorpion than he did losing to Kendrick because he felt like it has to be somebody, they got to be jumping me. It can't be because of Kendrick. Like, so, like, if that didn't motivate him to, like, put out good music, then I don't think anything will. I don't think anything is going to motivate him to put out good music, especially if this comes out and does well, which it looks like it's going to be, then, like, it doesn't even matter.
It's losing listeners by the day right now. Well, I mean,
yeah, but it's still gonna get 250. That's good enough.
Yeah.
I feel like
if it would have did one something, maybe we'd see some type of, like, nervousness. I don't know.
I think the vigor's there. I don't think the vigor was displayed for this album. I don't think this album was I don't think this was originally, like you said, like you kind of alluded to, like I don't think this album was started from scratch post beef. I think it was a lot of songs that I don't want to call them throwaways. I think they didn't make the cut for certain albums. And now it's like, okay, let's see if we can't bring this back to life. But I do think there's one thing that we'll talk about with Party. Like, I think there was a huge following with Party Next Door. And I've heard a lot of people say, like, you know, I used to love Party, but now it's like all auto-tune. And I think there's a part of his career. Too. I'm not that, like, I almost feel like Party had, like, almost this cult following, which, like, I don't know what to compare it to. I
can see that, too, yeah.
But, like, Party, like, he was the artist that was talked about, so much potential, X, Y, and Z. But, like, based on what I've heard from the previous, like, projects and what I know of Party, that's always been the voice I'm familiar with. So I do come away from this album kind of feeling like, bro, I feel like Party is who he is. Like,
I'm gonna say this: as an R&B singer, I think he should push the envelope more than Drake should, as far as vocally goes. But I don't think he can sing personally. He sounded.
He never could.
He never could.
I think Party's just one of those guys that
he is who he is.
I don't like that, man. Like that's.
I think Party's better at like the writing aspect of music versus like his actual abilities.
Yeah.
I think Party's maximize his abilities or what he's got. Like I don't know if there's like some
ain't no other point to reach. Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like what we get from Party, like
is what you get.
Said, we've gotten the best of Party and Drake that we gonna get previously. Like this almost felt like a reminder of like, we're capable of certain things, but like there was nothing that pushed the envelope from either artist. Like I fully agree
I'm glad you said that.
But at the same time, like I'm okay with just, you know, okay, not even okay. Average, I would say. It goes back to what we talked about with mid in our discussion. Almost feels like I'm on the opposite of what we originally like referred to. Like if somebody calls this album mid, I'm okay with that because I have the Gerard point of view where it's like 50% or
it's okay.
Yeah, like it's so like I'm okay with that, but no, like I would not be okay with that if Drake drops his next project, which I am expecting. That Vigor, I think he kind of alluded to this project being more for the fans, as like I'm gonna drop this for y'all, and I do think he's working on more, but I've been wrong before, so time will tell. But I think Party's best performance on the album was like it was like two songs I think where he stood out, and it's like after that. It was basically like a Drake product. It's almost like the 21 version, but R&B with the album he had with 21 Savage. Like 21 was on it. He had features like it wasn't like a 50-50 type of project.
Like Gerard says too. I don't think they were in the studio a lot together with this. I think it was a lot of sending verses,
I think
email back and forth.
ad-libs for a lot of the songs. To be honest with you, like
it just
there wasn't. I expected at least
that's
one.
That's what I mean when I say
almost,
it's lazy B. When I say stuff like that, like. I feel like if they actually took the time and recorded together in the studio, it also cut the track length. Like, you don't need 21
I knew when it
songs
dropped.
I think a lot of this was already stuff like that Drake had, and either they sent each other like, "Hey, put a verse on this. Hey, put ad-libs on this. Hey, give me some background vocals." Like it wasn't like they came together like, "Hey, we should make an album together." That's not what happened.
I will say that's where they dropped the ball because the way they promoted the album was almost like you guys should expect us in the studio, that old school. So I can see how it's like this ain't what y'all basically was alluding to with the promotion. Like that's I fully would accept that slander.
And what else annoys me?
What's that?
So Party got on Instagram. And people, I guess, was talking shit, like, you know what I'm saying, like, this ain't it. You know? He was like, y'all need to chill. This is an album to fuck bitches to. Like, I don't like when artists do that.
He deleted
I know artists are sensitive about.
I don't like what Drew just mentioned even more. Like, if you gonna tweet the shit, don't delete it.
Bro,
like, stand on it. Like, what you
like, bro, I don't like when people do that because, like, I know that artists are sensitive about their shit too, but at least fight back. You know what I'm saying? Like if you put it, listen, if I did something and I'm really like adamant about it, like I'm confident in what it's doing, you're not just about to say anything about that shit. I'm not just gonna put something out and delete it. Like, like this just like that means to tell me this shit is trash too. Like that's what it feels like. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I gotta say something. So hey y'all, it ain't that trash. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
no, that's a good point. I also feel like when he's gone, like you mentioned, like not having any passion or like real artistry behind it. I really enjoy When He's Gone. I feel like personally that's the best side nigga anthem since Pleasure P's Boyfriend Number 2.
So I guess When He's Gone is cool. I don't like the subject matter. Like I just think that's I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, I mean, he's grimy. It's grimy material, so I get that. I'm a little.
And then also like, if I was also when I was listening to that, which is why I did do the sub about the real R&B, is because like it's other subject matters to talk about in R&B than taking somebody else's girl, dog. Like that's the only thing. Like that's what I mean about a mature approach. Like Drake, you can get your own girl. Like that's the only thing. It's like, bro,
I don't disagree.
I texted you guys both this week about listening to Balloonerism by Mac, but he talks about a lot of these relationships that Drake's is talking about in a real mature way. That's why I want you guys to hear it, because like it's over dope beats too, like really jazzy beats. But he's talking about shit like the aftermath of when a girl leaves and shit like that, and like what it's like to really feel lost in a relationship. Like that's the avenue he can take. It doesn't have to be strip club music or dealing with taking someone's girl and shit like that. Like played out, man. Like Gerard said, I honestly believe, and I didn't think about this till Gerard said it, I think his mindset is a little stunted right now. Like he's 25, 26 years old, and with a lot of money in his pocket.
I mean, that's where, to me, the comparisons to Michael Jackson, like, when you live life a certain way, like, there's a certain amount of realism you just not going to have, to where I don't have a certain expectation. Because, I don't know, dude, like, you live in the real world, obviously, and I know this probably won't make any sense, but, like, a lot of times you don't. Like, you don't know what it's like to be in a long line at a grocery store after a long day of work. Like, you never going to experience that type of shit. Like, Michael Jackson rented out a fucking grocery store to shop by himself and hire people to be actors to experience what's that like. Because they can't go nowhere. Like, there's a lot of stuff we take for granted to where they never just going to be able to do little shit. And that's not like a, whoa, it's me, Drake, because who fucking who, you got millions of dollars. But, like, I just feel like that's the aspect where, like, I understand the lack of maturity that we expect from certain people.
Well,
but I know that
like,
sounds like
even just make music, like, it sounds cliche what I want him to do, but like even take music and like take lyrics and write down lyrics of like those down times. You may not have a lot of the artist he is right now, but like the loneliness and shit like that, the long bus rides, which he used to do back in.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's giving us that.
Harken back to what? Okay, so I'm gonna tell you what Nas did with that. Now harken back to what it's like now, where you're at, and go back to those times. That's exactly what Nas did and matured as a lyricist.
Okay.
I think that's exactly what King's Disease was.
Exactly.
That's exactly
reminiscing on his youth, pretty much. Yeah. And how rich he is now.
Because
and
now he's at a level now that you can look back,
and he doesn't have to worry anymore. Shit like that. Like just find some inspiration somewhere besides the strip club right now.
So that's what it is. Like I think he needs to find inspiration somewhere outside of these women that keep breaking his heart. Like I think you have to find it from somewhere. And I thought that when I said, oh yeah, this rap battle is great for hip hop, because I thought it would have motivated both artists. Yeah. Like, and so I see what it did for Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? But I still don't know what it did for Drake. Like, I have no idea.
Well, he said, he said it. Fuck the beef. I'm trying to get the party lit. Like, what a cop out. You know?
But that's what I'm saying.
That's like that project versus like, this is me being a hopeful Drake stan. I think he's working on what it is that you guys desire. I just don't think the timing of this album looks bad. It just looks bad from hey, you just got crushed from the beef. You're dropping an R&B. This looks like a cop-out. I think he's working on that.
His next solo is what's going to tell a lot for his career, No,
I don't disagree with anything y'all said. I think one thing with Kendrick, what I liked about what he did is a lot of people was like, dog, we not really, like, I was listening to T.I. interview on a podcast, and he said he respects both artists, but he was saying, like, there's certain projects with Kendrick where it's just a little too heavy for him.
Yeah.
And to hear an artist like T.I. say that's like, you know what? I feel better about my stance because, like, this is somebody who has been in the game. Like, is a great artist himself. And to have that same feeling towards certain work, But with GNX, the reason why I like that, and it's one of my favorite Kendrick, is like
It's simple.
it's simple and it's Kendrick having fun, which is like bro, this is what we want to see with Kendrick. But I feel like the opposite is what's being asked from was Drake, and it's like I feel like there's a certain level of unfairness there, but also it's justified.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'll say that.
So here's the thing: Drake lost, so you don't have the perspective of having fun. Like we want to hear you, like, okay. For instance, Jay-Z allegedly lost to Nas.
Wow. Clip this, man. Clip this.
That's the best use of allegedly. I'll hear it twice the time. That's good.
So the next album he put out was Blueprint 2. Okay, and the actual no, stop that, Drew.
It was
like,
all
don't do
over
that.
the place.
No, he wasn't. So stop. Like,
no, man, I'm tired. Y'all need to get into it. I'm tired
he
of
was
being
all over
No,
the
man,
place.
no, because this is one thing that pisses me off about Drew, bro. It's always be like the opinions of yesteryear. He ain't heard Blueprint 2 in years. Like, so he going off of like shit. He gave him shit that Double XL said 15 years ago. No,
Listen.
like so,
go ahead.
bro. Listen,
no, Drew, get back on dry. Get on his ass.
No,
You got so many different sounds on that album. You gotta admit
Blueprint
that.
2, right? It's a double album. Jay-Z had never had a double album before. That's not the point.
No, this is-
Go ahead.
Listen, man.
Go ahead, Gerard.
He never had
we
a
can
what?
go back if need be.
That was his first. That was his first double album.
Yes, that was his first double album. They were trying to they felt like Tupac had a double album, Biggie had a double album,
Nah,
Jay
that
needs
Streets
a double album.
Disciple was it
Yeah,
after or before this?
So that's why there's a lot of songs on Blueprint 2. But that's not the point
was
that I'm
Streets
trying to make.
Was it before or after Blueprint 2? Nas's.
Was it Streets Disciple? No,
That's his double
Nas
album.
put out Stillmatic, and then it was Streets Disciple.
Godson.
Yeah,
Godson.
Yeah. So with Blueprint 2, it was a double album. It's still regarded as a very good album, but still Jay put in that album the aftermath of what he was feeling from battling Nas. If you listen to the actual record Blueprint 2, he broke down like the battle
song.
on the whole thing. So it's a perspective like, hey, y'all saw the battle, so it's just like Muhammad and Ali and Foreman. Y'all saw the fight. Y'all saw the Thriller in Manila, right? Now let me tell you the play-by-play from my part of what happened. That's what people want to hear from Drake. They want to hear what went wrong. He shouldn't have beat your ass like that. So tell us what went wrong. Now, when you say some shit like fuck a rap battle, I'm trying to get the party lit. Are you telling your fans who were especially people like you be, is that when you put out the Hard Park 6, you really were conceding? You really know, regardless of the people think that you had no chance in this shit. That's what you're telling them. It's not saying you can't be that dismissive over what Kendrick just did to you, because nobody has done that. Nas ain't even have it run like this. You had you have to. It's basically a press conference. We got to hear you talk. We got to hear from you.
I agree.
And so that's that.
I think, like I said earlier, I think this was I don't take that as a full fuck the rap beef altogether. I'm trying to get the party lit. I don't think that was this is my career thing. I think that was this song, this record, this project. I'll get to that later. I could be wrong, but I do see how it feels like. I agree with you all along, Gerard. But at the same time, when you mentioned during the beef, you said Drake shouldn't have paid attention or even responded to X, Y, and Z. I always love the fact that he responded to everybody. He's basically, you want to step in the ring, you get some too. But Kendrick isn't a person where you can try to do I'm a big dog and little dog. He didn't give him the proper attention, like you said, that he deserved.
Yeah. But I'm glad you said that, because I literally just watched the interview where Drake was talking shit about Kendrick in an interview with Elliot Wilson 12 years ago after Control had just dropped. Drake has never really looked at Kendrick as somebody that is on his level. And so, he felt like he could do to Kendrick what he did to all them other people. Let me give you a couple of lines. You'll go about your way. I just think that was a bad idea.
I fully agree.
Because I'm looking at it like this. And this is my mindset. Y'all can tell me if I'm wrong. If Kendrick got so much attention over that Control record, then that means anytime he says something aggressive, people are going to pay attention to it.
They did.
So you can't dismiss him like he's anybody else, because that means people are going to listen to his words. And he's already, like, at this point now, when the rap battle started, he's Kendrick. He's King Kendrick. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you, like, regardless if you Drake, this is somebody you should pay attention to. But you sat down against Pusha T because of your affinity for Lil Wayne. Like you said, B, like, that's some bullshit. Because Wayne, so, like, your priorities is all fucked up. And I think that Drake should have better friends. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I fully agree with that. I think when it came to Kendrick, I think Drake tried to do remember when 50 Cent did the How to Rob and Jay-Z said, like, fuck, what was it? I'm about a dollar.
I'm about a dollar. What the fuck is 50 Cent?
I think he tried to do that to Kendrick, but not that Kendrick was an underdog, but, like, Kendrick's so focused and knowing how much of a, like, I want to say little man complex he has, but, like, when Kendrick focuses and, like, wants to hate on something, like, he's going to rip it apart. Like, he's not going to do I'm going to focus on this. Like, he was solely focused on Drake, where I feel like Drake just felt like he could do exactly what you said. Like, I'm gonna try to big dog you. I'm going to try to sun you. But Kendrick is the one person where it's like, if we're talking numbers, I'm right there with you now, especially now.
Right.
Like,
Especially
you're
now,
not going to do that. You can't, like, so I think the project that's coming next, that's going to be solo, which is what all these projects have eventually been, is solo projects with features.
Featured
like
artists, yeah.
He's got to. I'm hoping, and again, I could be hopeful, but, like, I didn't take it as like I'm over the beef altogether. Like, I think that's coming. I think he kind of, that's why I enjoyed the song we was talking about. It switched up a few times.
Give Me a Hug.
Yeah, I think Give Me a Hug was like I'm gonna give you an appetizer right now on this song. Go back to the R&B, but I expect more of that energy, and that's why personally I was excited. So I hope I'm right, but I could definitely be wrong. But no,
I won't know because I'm not listening, so I won't know. I'm done. You can let me know. Yeah, yeah.
Remember when I said I started the pod listening to a classic? Like right before, I think it's a great time to tell you what that classic is. So right before I listened to Pimp a Butterfly, I was like, I haven't heard this in years, so I'm gonna tell you, about the same as I remember it, man. It's a tough listen still. I'm not gonna give it.
You didn't like To Pimp a Butterfly
no, it's
originally?
Not. It's a tough album to get into. I appreciate the album now. Like, this is the first time I've heard it probably in like 6 years maybe or something like that, you know? But like, I went away thinking the first half of that album actually does drag still, and that's the hardest part to get into. But once you get into it, it's a hell of a ride to the end, and it's a great finish to the album. So that's what I took away this time. So like the song, I've been seeing it going around on TikTok, like, this dick ain't free. Like, dude, that shit's brutal. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's an interlude, but you don't need that. And then, like, you have the These Walls song, which is a man's perspective about a woman's vagina, you know? Like, it's a tough song to listen to at the same time.
I like These Walls. Yeah.
It's okay to me. But then, all right, so then on top of this, it's layered with that heavy-ass poem that he's building from the beginning, you know? And I'm like, I know where it goes. Like, it's just a tough first few. Like, King Kunta's in there, it's awesome. And Wesley's Theory is amazing to start the albums. But, like, I just think it's a tough grind. But, like, listening to it now, I do appreciate it a little more from back then. So it's definitely a classic because it's got hits. And I completely forgot I is on it. I love myself. Like, that song's a bop. You know what's rough about that song? There's 3 minutes of just talking at the end of it. Like, just talking. And I'm like, another reason why this album's hard to get into at times, because there's so many highs and lows on it. Like, I don't know. But yeah, but I'm listening to that and I'm like, okay, I can see why it's a classic. But now I feel like I got to go back and listen to Take Care at this point, because it's been a long time, you know? And like, I think I'm just going to start doing that to knock out some of these classics and go back to them and like, how have they aged? Because I feel like that's the big thing now. Like, how have these aged, you know?
You got me wonder if I ever actually listened to Pimp a Butterfly from beginning to end.
It's an hour, 20 minutes.
I don't know if I ever have, but I know I've heard songs off of it. So now you got me wanting to go back and listen to it.
My final takeaway about it, I was like, you know why I didn't like Mr. Morale? Is because he did this on To Pimp a Butterfly. Like, that's a lot of therapy on To Pimp a Butterfly. It's a hell of a story, though. It's a great story, but there's a lot of, like, same similarities with it.
I like Mr. Morale more than I like To Pimp a Butterfly.
Do you?
Even when To Pimp a Butterfly came out, I was like, I wasn't sure if this was for me, and because it was a 180 from Good Kid, Mad City. So like, so I was like, damn, this is I'm like, damn, this is okay. This is different. Like, so it was like a shock. And then like, so I like a bunch of songs off of To Pimp a Butterfly. So it was like, it's not like I disliked the album, but it was just different. But I enjoy Mr. Morale much more than I enjoy To Pimp a Butterfly.
Damn, see, maybe I need to go back to that now and compare To Pimp a Butterfly to that. But like, my order now is still Good Kid, Mad City. Do we include Section 80 in there, like, with his albums, or is it part of, like, Overly Dedicated era, you know, with the mix?
No, I don't include Overly Dedicated or Kendrick Lamar.
I don't include the Untitled album either. Like, a lot of people do.
Yeah, I don't include that one either, but I definitely include Section 80, though.
I definitely, like, Good Kid, Mad City, Damn, GNX now I like. Then I like To Pimp a Butterfly, then Mr. Morale. So that's my order. So... yeah,
GNX is my favorite Kendrick album ever. So
come on, no,
ever.
Gerard,
Ever.
no, yeah. It's not. You're just saying that because it's not. I'm telling you, it's not,
bro.
It's
telling
not
you.
Good Kid, Mad City.
Better than Good.
No. I love Good Kid, Mad City. That's my second favorite. GNX is my favorite Kendrick album. Okay.
Do you agree?
I listen to it every day. I take a lot more away from GNX. Mostly because of the simplicity. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like he's doing a lot more. It's more about the community that he came from than like Good Kid, Mad City is about
living in the community back then.
Yeah, his upbringing and stuff like that. I think like what he's talking about at GNX is more personal as far as like, hey, these are my people. So at this point in my life and stuff like that, I relate more to GNX now. Like when
Let me ask you a question, Gerard. So you know how I say like Late Registration is my favorite, but I can also say Dark Twisted Fantasy is kind of his best album. Now, do you think GNX is your favorite, but Good Kid, Mad City is his best album? Or no? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so here, GNX is my favorite. If I'm talking about his best album, like purely curated,
start to finish, yeah,
it's probably gonna be between To Pimp a Butterfly and Damn.
Dang,
it's one of them.
Man.
As far as like in totality about how an album is created and stuff like that, I don't think that Good Kid, Mad City is as good as those two as far as like the process of the album. So like I think
maybe
it's like
I just
it's
like a good hood tale, man.
I think I think you like it, yes, because I think it plays out like a movie.
It does.
I think you like the
that it's the same reason I like My Crazy Life by YG.
Yeah, you like the rhythm.
Yeah,
you like the rhythm of that album. Yeah, so like that's what it is.
That's
like
fair.
it's good pacing. It's good pacing. You can follow it, like
bops,
all of that
within it.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I don't think I think that the information and the energy that To Pimp a Butterfly is giving is much more potent.
As fuck. That's
why
it's
much more
I think
powerful.
I personally can't get into it still. You know.
Yeah, but if you take the time, like if you really was dissecting To Pimp a Butterfly to like really pull all the information out of it, it's incredible, and it deserved the Pulitzer. You know what I'm saying? Like
the title makes so much sense with how the album is structured. Like,
and even with Damn, because Damn you can it's so much that goes into Damn. You can play the album backwards. Like Damn. It's amazing. Like so, it's between those two albums as which one is his best. But my favorite, the one that I'm going to listen to for the rest of my life is GNX.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Kind of similar to what I was saying before. Remember when I was saying like I always will say like Take Care is my favorite Drake, but like
his best.
Certified Lover Boy is probably the one I listened to and probably overtook as like
not now I understand why you say that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I like a part of me like gets like, I don't know the proper word.
I don't know, man. There's something special about the first time I heard Views. Like that was just
No, that was
just
a great
like being in
song.
the windy like top of that building. You know, like it was. I could feel it.
The meme. But like with Gerard, like saying GNX is his favorite Kendrick, and knowing that's the Kendrick album where it's like, hey, let's have some fun. Like let's woosah. You don't have to be so angry. Let's have a little fun. Let's make some bops. Like, but knowing at the same time, like you want the opposite from Drake. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying like
That's not true. That's because my favorite Drake album is Nothing Was the Same. I feel like that gives the same energy that GNX gives. I look at those two similarly.
Damn.
Like,
I meant from the standpoint of like Kendrick loosened up on this album. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
it wasn't heavy. It was like he talked about real shit, but it was in a way where it's like you didn't feel like, damn, like walking away, like you needed a break from music after
Right.
listening to it. Like you repeated it.
Yeah.
But like you want growth. You want to feel something. Pause from like whatever Drake drops. Where
Yeah.
like you over it.
Yeah.
Like
But
But,
that
like, that's
magic
the-
again.
yeah. Like I guess that's where it's like I don't know what Drake is like. Yeah, you too loose, bro. Like pause. Like you gotta like. I'm trying to hear like some real bars.
Like,
some,
tighten
things
up.
Action, like,
Like-
yeah, but like you see what I'm saying? Like not that anything's wrong with it. It's just like knowing I'm a Drake fan and hearing you say that about a project where Kendrick's like more relaxed and less uptight.
I'm
Like,
also looking at Drake's peers, right? Which is in peers in hip hop because he's far exceeded hip hop. But looking at his peers in hip hop, if I'm looking at the big three and I'm looking at Cole, I'm looking at Kendrick, and I'm looking at Drake, Drake is the only one who seems like he hasn't grown up. Like he's still stuck where they were in 2009.
I can agree with
Like
that.
if I look at Cole and I look at Kendrick, you can see their growth from
Bro.
where they were in 2009 to where they are now. I see Drake growth as far as his career trajectory. I see he's made a lot of money, but I don't see like when I listen to his music, I don't feel like he's grown up. It feels Peter Pan. So that's what I'm looking for. When I'm looked at when I listen to Nothing Was the Same, and when I listen to Views, like I see his where he's going, like he's his trajectory, he's going up at this point, and he's telling you like on his journey on the way up, like, and it's like a rocket ship. I feel like once he got to that point, he kind of just coasted. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then like didn't tell you like
the lifestyle thing, like
yeah, but so
old
and this is where I like I get with you. There's been plenty of people who's gotten rich, you know what I'm saying, and can still tell you like the ups and downs of what that celebrity comes with. One of those people, for example, is Jay-Z. But the thing about Jay-Z that's different from Drake, and Drake can tell this story better, is that Jay-Z got married. And a lot of
That's
rich
what I
people
was
will tell
alluding
you, yeah, a lot of rich people will tell you the only way you're going to truly become successful is if you get married. Like, cause like that, that'll tell people who got money that want to invest in stuff like that you're able to like manage and like lock in. Like you're able to commit to something. Like just cause you can make decisions and stuff like that doesn't mean you're a mature mind. If you're able to manage a household, then I'll give you the keys to my business. I'll give you the money, whatever, because you know where priorities lie. So like once Jay-Z got married, you saw his mindset change from like, I'm a pimp, I'll never settle down, to making a duet album with his wife. You know what I'm saying? It shows like in talking about, you know, his mother's sexuality in 444, like everything in 444, like it shows like how it was a switch. Like, all right, everything's not so selfish. Everything's not so one track minded. It's not about the bitches. It's not about the clubs and stuff like that. Life is much bigger than that. Life is much deeper than that. Drake hasn't made that step yet. Kendrick got married. Cole got married.
But that's not, when I refer to lifestyle and when I refer to y'all being like fathers, like I think Jay-Z is so lucky to where he was able to find a Beyonce later in his life because they were like here, like I don't.
But I also
Drake,
think
like,
that's what Drake's problem was, is looking for a Beyonce. Like
But
he's
how could
looking
you
for
not, though? Like,
no, I'm talking about he looking for a Beyonce in stature, like who can match up Yeah, I think when Jay-Z and Beyonce got together, they weren't already billionaires and stuff like that.
True.
Like they found partners. Like I think Drake hasn't took the time to within himself to look for a partner, which is why he always is every time it's with these women, you hear in his records, it's always they hurt him. They did this to me. They did this to me. Well, Drake, I mean, it go both ways. And these women hate you back. So what did you do? Like that self accountability, and you know, a lot of this is coming from like I sent it to you, the book that I'm reading, like
Yes.
you know, by Jason Wilson. So a lot of these things line up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm learning that from the book. Like, if you don't look within self, like you're never take any accountability. You're never going to see it from anybody else. And I think the music, like you're hearing that from Drake. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's making me listen to his music, and not even that it's repetitive or the content is similar and stuff like that. Cause shit, it's a lot of dudes like who make the same type of records. I don't have the same type of expectations for Future, and he older than Drake, and he make the same type of shit. You know
That's what I was kind of trying to allude to earlier. Like I think Future is such a great comparison because we all kind of talked about like he's on our Mount Rushmore. Mm-hmm. Like he's got the versatility. I mean, the bars may not be there necessarily, but like
but his content is the same. He just make it sound different though. So like like that's it. Like like he just make it sound different.
But
like,
I'm at the point Drake do
the same. Yeah, like Drake do the same on everything.
I outgrew it. You know?
Drew has become what you are with Drake with Future though.
Yeah.
Where me and you listen to Future and we like
you still see the craft in it and shit.
Yeah, like you know what you're gonna get. He's still
I outgrew that sound. Yeah.
But at the same
I also like am not the biggest Future fan, so it don't really matter to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it's more disappointing to me with Drake because like I love Drake at some point. Yeah, so
that's real.
See, that's what on a very, very less scale, that's what happened to me in Currency, man. Like it was a problem of putting out too much music though, but I fucking loved him at one point, and then it's just I outgrew it, man. Like I can't do it anymore. Like I think that is a point with Drake too. Like it may have happened with a lot of people over the last couple albums, you know? Just that time is over and they're not here, and you know, sadly it happens with every great artist that's on that scale, you know?
But you know, let's wrap this up because we gotta keep moving. I can't be on here all night, so
yeah.
Well,
great combo.
So I already mentioned the intro, how I wasn't feeling it. I did enjoy Mothballs. I put in my notes. I know Drew will hate Crying in Chanel. I love Spider-Man, Superman because it's sampled doing it wrong, and I don't remember an artist sampling himself in the way that he did it. Although I'm sure there's examples. I just thought that was really dope. Deeper was the song where I was looking for it in my notes and could not find it till now. I feel like that was Party's personal best contribution to the album.
It was.
And I feel like that's more so going towards like how I was disappointed in Party, because if that's the biggest takeaway from the album, I feel like it's a letdown. I enjoy Small Town Fame. I enjoy Pimmy's Dilemma. I love how it's another interlude where it's like a Star is Born, similar to what we referred to from Yeeby's Heartbreak. I knew Give Me a Hug. That's the first song I repeated as soon as I heard it. Like I knew that was the one. Calling Joe Budden a dick sucker was hilarious to me, but I know Gerard wanted him to mention him by name.
Man, and Kendrick by name.
You know me so well.
Nakia, I thought was fire, but again, I thought he could have stick with the first beat. I also feel like Nokia is a different sound to your question earlier, Gerard, as to trying something different. I do think that was a new sound for Drake. Like I said, I loved When He's Gone, best side nigga anthem since Pleasure P's Boyfriend 2. And I thought Greedy was the outro and the level what I expected from the intro that I didn't get. So I feel like that's one thing I'm really looking forward to, because whether it's for All the Dogs or this project, I really feel like the intro is just not doing what Drake Once Upon did. And I'm looking for that, because if I wasn't a Drake fan, the intro wouldn't have had me motivated to keep listening. And I feel like that's something that didn't help him with a lot of people that were looking for more. But as far as like song through songs, that's what I had. Also, shout out to Kid Masterpiece. tweeted out he produced 5 of the tracks. I just think it's really dope to see him have kind of like a growth in his career. The 5 songs were CN Tower, Give Me a Hug, Raining in Houston, Celibacy, and Greedy. But that's what I had to wrap up my notes on the album overall.
I thought Celibacy was stupid too, but whatever.
Honestly, Celibacy is a song that I don't like. I don't really remember that, like, it doesn't have a hold on me. So I get that. I really haven't seen much talk about it though, to be honest. Most of what I've seen is alluding to what you just said, Gerard. I did listen to ASAP 12s. I did more with less.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good. I ended up adding Soldier of Fortune. Ain't
Bro, let's talk about that one for a minute.
Which
that
one?
whole second verse had Detroit references. That shit was so
Soldier
fire,
of
bro.
Fortune?
Yes.
Okay.
Listen to the whole second verse again. If you need to pull up the lyrics, bro, that whole second verse was masterful. How he put that shit together. That shit was fire, bro.
No, this was the first project of his I think I listened to in full. I can't remember if I listened to the one that had what is it? Hop Out? Is it Hop Out? Jump Out? What's his song? Shit, let me find it real quick.
Kids Gotta Eat was the last one I heard.
Kids Gotta Eat, yeah.
Hop Out was 12.
Hop Out.
Yeah, I'm 12.
Yeah. So Hop Out was
a good
like,
project.
that was the song where I'm like, okay, I hadn't heard anything from ASAP 12 before that. So that was fire as fuck. So I might actually go back and listen to that album, but I like I said, Soldier of Fortune, Ain't Gonna Cry, Bronx Zoo. I thought Eddie Bauer was super dope.
Eddie Bauer was dope.
Millennial Puzzle I added, Damn Mo, featuring Pac Open Panama. I'm gonna butcher this so bad. Verrazano Visions, I think it is.
Yeah, Verrazano.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you, Drew. I was not confident. And then All My Axes, that was the last one that I added from the album. But overall, I thought it was solid as hell. I was listening to it shoveling snow. I love the beats. And maybe just want to go back and listen to some of his old music that I haven't heard. But just knowing Hop Out was a song where I was like, dog, I like his voice. I love the beat. So, like,
Classic
he's always
New
been
York
an artist
hip-hop.
I went to, huh?
Classic New York hip hop.
Yeah, like I enjoyed that one. And it was like, that was the switch up I listened to after listening to Drake, where it's like, I listened to it so much, I'm like, I need something different. So that was what I pivoted to.
Yeah, that was dope. That was still my favorite out of the mob. Like,
He's dope,
Out of all of them?
yeah. He's the one who
he's
could
always
rap
he's
the
always
best.
been my
Yeah.
favorite. He's always been my favorite.
That's so dope.
Ferg and Rocky had the star power, bro. He was the lyrical genius.
He was always my favorite. Yeah.
And that's funny because those are the two that I listened to the most out of the group. And I never listened to Chinks, unfortunately. So I probably need to go back and listen to him too, because Gerard, I remember you saying he influenced a lot of what I hear from A$AP Rocky at times that I enjoy. So
Chinks, and also like if you like French Montana.
yeah, I do.
That's what
I do
Chink-
like French
yeah.
Montana. So yeah, I'll go check it out. I had another project that I started. Y'all gonna love that I started it, but I'm gonna save it until next week because I haven't finished it, and I feel like in order to talk about it with y'all, I should have all my ducks in a row. But that's all I personally listen to. What did y'all listen to?
The only other thing I listened to was West Side Gun's album 12. Ironically,
Yeah,
that
I
12
ain't
is
listened
called
to-
12.
That's funny, right?
It's honestly, a lot of shit's starting to sound the same with him, but this is a great, probably his best beats he's had in a long time. Like, he is some of the best production I've heard. And then he's just getting better with rapping each album and album. Like, nothing to
good.
write home about. It's just pure bars and that's it.
Yeah,
Close
but
raps.
him getting better at rapping is because he's not a
huge
rapper.
thing yeah, because
Yeah, so,
from where he
like-
started to where he is now,
Yeah.
like, he can actually flow and be
what is-
respectable.
what-
It's
Did he start
a
off
comparison it's a comparison like Jim Jones.
That's,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
I'm always
Exactly.
super proud of Jim Jones
Yep.
because from where he started to where he
So
is
much
now,
better.
it's so much better. Yeah,
exactly.
So like,
That's exactly
yeah.
what West
Like
Side is.
kind of like Schoolboy Q.
It was just a little choppy,
Nah,
a
'cause
little
Q-
lazier
Q-
flow.
because Q
Q could-
wasn't
Q
a
was always
rapper,
dope,
but
though.
he had a natural talent though. So like that's different.
always
like
had that swag to
Yeah,
him.
he always had something.
Yeah.
So
I
He
just love
always
how he
had-
basically admits, like, I used to bullshit until Kendrick was like,
But
yeah, no.
you
like,
would never know though, because he always had like a swag with a hunger mixed
Yeah.
with it, and it was like.
But I guess like that's what having good friends around for,
That's
because
true.
they can see like, yo, you're actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So you should probably stop
Like,
bullshitting.
if
So,
you go back and listen to Habits and Contradictions by Schoolboy, like it's a really good.
It's
debut
really good,
album.
yeah.
Like,
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
very good.
Post it in the chat if you can.
I can do that. Yeah, that's all I listen to.
Nice.
Habits.
So I watched quite a bit. I feel like one of y'all was teasing watching a new show. Drew, was it you? You were watching a new show?
yeah,
I
Drew
did.
was.
Yeah.
What is this new show?
It's called Yellow Jackets.
Oh yeah, that's my shit.
Man.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
How caught up are you?
I haven't started. What is it on season
Season 3, they're about to start.
3? Yeah, I haven't started season 3 yet, but season 1 and 2. Oh,
We're almost done with season 1 right now. So what it is, it's a high school girls soccer team that like really
Yeah.
good. Like they're about to go to nationals, and then their plane crashes in the woods, and like
Yeah.
you get glimpses and shit of them like. You get glimpses and shit of them like being a cult and being cannibals, but it's not much. But then there's 2 stories of one because it takes place while they're in there, and then the other story is while they're all adults.
It's after they get
and how it's
saved.
affecting
Yeah.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Oh, it's a
holy
twist,
shit,
Drew.
is it
What?
good. I
a
already know,
twist.
man.
Okay.
The last episode I watched is where they were in the attic trying to do a seance just for fun.
Okay.
And whew,
Yeah. Man.
yeah, this shit's good,
Yeah.
man.
Yellow
There's so
Jackets
many
is lit.
storylines. It's not.
It's not. I mean, it's a thriller, so some parts are going to be heavy, but
like
it's,
even their adult lives are so interesting. Like each route
Yeah.
that they all went, and like the stories they're dealing with, and like some have died because they don't show up as adults.
Right.
So
Yep.
you're
but
you're trying to put together.
You don't know
who
how
died.
they
You
died.
don't know how.
You
yeah.
know for sure, like some of those people didn't die in the
Yep.
plane crash because
And you do
obviously
know
people-
from the first episode that one of them in the group is going to be like the cult leader. So
Yep.
man, I'm so
Yeah, it's lit
curious.
though.
Like,
Yellow Jackets is lit. Yeah.
I don't even care like where it goes. I just want to see how, why, when.
Yeah.
Like when do they get off this island? You know, like it's really good. So that's what we've been watching.
I've been watching a couple shows. So I've been watching. It's a show called The Pit, which takes place in emergency room. Just following like an hour in the emergency room. You know, so like a lot of shit happens in the emergency room. You know, so like people live and die in the emergency room. So like it goes hour by hour, starting on the first shift, starting at 7 a.m.
Damn.
And then every episode is an hour. So like what happened
That's
in those
dope.
hours. Yeah, and it's a teaching college too. I think it's at the University of Pittsburgh Hospital. So they don't just have doctors working in the emergency room. You have residency and like student doctors
Students,
that's
yeah.
working too. That's learning. So like they have to learn how to maneuver in the emergency room. So like that's super dope.
Did you ever watch the show 24 back in the day with Kiefer?
So it's
Sutherland?
kind. Yes,
I was gonna say
yeah,
is
it's
it kind
kinda-
of like set up like that.
It's kind of set up like that, but
That's
instead of saving the
Terrorists
president,
and shit.
yeah, you
It's
are
a
in the
hospital.
emergency room.
That's dope.
I've also been watching it's a show on Hulu called Paradise. So in this world, the world I guess had a natural disaster. The world is destroyed. But before the world becomes destroyed, the president of the United States builds like an underground city in like a cave to save like some of the kids from some of the people from America and like inside of a bubble. And so when the asteroid hit and people die on the outside, the people that's inside that community live. So that president ends up dying. Someone killed the president, and then like now they're trying to figure out like what's going on because secrets have been hidden that people may have survived the asteroid hit. So
Dang.
like yeah,
Oh, man.
so that show is
That
super
sounds
good. It's kind of like if you've ever watched This Is Us, because Sterling K. Brown is the lead of that show. It's kind of like This Is Us meets, what's like somebody living on another world, but it's like still like regular. Because I already said 24, so I can't say that. Dang, I can't think of another show like Lost.
Oh.
But
Oh.
yeah. So yeah. You know, I fuck with our LGBT community. We still watching Drag Race around here. So that's getting lit. Ready to Love, you know, we watch our dating shows. We watch another show called Family or Fiance, where you bring your fiance to a mansion, and you got to get the approval from 3 family members on each side to like whether they are give their blessings to your marriage.
That sounds too set up almost,
bro. Bro, in some of these relationships it'd be crazy.
I believe
like the first episode of this season was like third cousins are marrying each other.
Jesus.
And so like
cue the band music.
Yeah. And so like yeah, so it's crazy. And then we've been watching on Prime, you know, the anime Invincible. So we've been watching that too.
Ooh.
Also, Kiera had me watching some
Fallout. You and Kiera?
She did.
Oh,
I think I fell
man.
asleep on it.
I feel like you'd love
Yeah,
it.
I'm pretty. Actually, I'm positive I fell asleep on it. But she liked weird shit like that.
Because it reminded me of that show you were talking about with the president. That's what Fallout was kind of like. Yeah.
And then she had me watching some weird Lifetime movie called Stalking Laura. Let me tell you about this bullshit. But it had me locked in. So it's an 80s movie. So Brooke Shields is the lead, right? Mm-hmm. And she's getting stalked by this man. So it's the 80s. They tell you like a dude stalking you. They're like, well, stop looking good. Like, what? Like, so yeah. And then he went all, you know, white sniper. Shout out to your people, Drew. And like he killed all the people in the office. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And Brooke Shields still made it out alive. She got shot in her shoulder. Like, it's just some bullshit. But we watched that shit from beginning to end, and I picked apart how dumb it was from the very beginning. Like, but yeah, I don't know how movies in the 80s got made, but yeah.
You say shout out to my people because we're active shooters? Is that what I was catching about that?
Yeah, y'all been getting too much credit. So, like, I got to knock you down a peg. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, shout out Mac McClung. Shout out Cooper DeJean.
Hey, y'all on a dope-ass run right now, bro.
Who's next? Who is next?
Speaking of Matt McClung, man, what y'all think of the dunk contest?
That was the best part of the weekend.
I thought he was lit.
I
could tell.
I gotta give him some credit to Stefan. Yeah, man, I was gonna say, like, he might have came in second in a couple things, but like he was doing some stuff where it's like, okay, like I ain't a host too. Like
that
he was the only person I
wasn't no joke, man. That he cradled it. Like that was dope.
Yeah,
bro, that was dope. But
that back scratcher, he was all the way.
That was dope.
Jumping over the car, like Blake jumped over the hood. Like it was dope at the time, but also like. Didn't really jump over the car.
If the dude for the
Mac was different.
If the dude for the Bulls got that one under on the bounce under his leg, that would have been a tough.
That would have been nice. That would
have
been
been a tough one.
Yeah,
but Mac jumping over the car. Not only did he grab it out my man's head and hold it in the air, then he turned around and
180.
Bro,
come on.
Like we really got to get Mac an NBA deal because he got to upgrade them 2K free tattoos.
Bro.
But like in general, he put.
Not only that, the
Mac can't do nothing else
too.
though. That's the thing.
Yeah, no.
Mac,
it might work in the league, but that shit ain't happening in the NBA. Like,
I'll tell you what, in 2K he's fun to play with. He can do a lot in that game.
I felt bad because they asked him like, "Are you coming back?" And you can see he like, "Bro, I just want a regular contract. Like, I'm not trying to be a pawn for y'all goddamn rating."
The winner of that should be a contract for a year,
bro. Like, I just feel.
He made more money from the dunk contest than he did in the league. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, like. But I was listening to Carmelo saying beforehand what would save the NBA All-Star game, and he states that they need to do a USA versus World, like make it that, which I agree with. But he said basically like they need to start taking the games globally, and he did kind of shit on like, funny enough, Cleveland, which you know that's Cleveland for you. You can check it out. Yep. Go back and check out the previous episode. But he talked about like Salt Lake City. He's like,
man.
You know, like places like that, but he wants that World's Games to go to like Abu Dhabi, like Paris, like. So on one hand, I get that, but at the same time, like, if you make it a global game, the point of the All-Star game is to give back to the fans,
right?
So it just kind of feels like I know y'all are main fans, but like we gonna try to take this globally, and I feel like that's the opposite of what an All-Star game is supposed to be.
They already got the FIBA Cup and then the Olympics for that.
Yeah, you know? And then I also heard go ahead, Dred.
I would rather have not even just the All-Stars. I mean, like the USA versus the world. Like the other leagues, like the Spanish All Stars versus the NBA All Stars. Like that'll be dope. Like, and then make it like a rolling. So maybe the Chinese All Stars, and then keep going from there.
Cool.
I think that'll be better.
I just feel like we've overcomplicated what it would take to make the game competitive again. I think we saw flashes this game, although overall the product was still shit. We saw more blocks than we saw usually, but it was guys like, I have to give credit to guys like Wemby, to guys like Trae Young. You need a few more guys
they were playing for real.
That's okay with being the assholes, whereas like Trae Young was out there trying to nutmeg people, like throwing the ball off the bat. Like he was
Wemby
trying to
almost died. Wemby almost died. So
Wemby was out there. He was out there hooping like it was a regular game. He was trying to block every shot, and he was trying to dunk on your ass if you was under that basket. So like, I respect it. Even Kyrie, like it was guys that was out there that was like playing, and I feel like that's what it would take. Like you need a few more guys that's cool with like not trying to be buddy. And I'm not making it like, hey, y'all can talk after the game like it's an all-star game. But at the same time, certain guys like Kobe, Michael Jordan, even Bron. Like I think that for a lot of years, like Bron was the one where it's like, okay, Bron was playing for real, especially in the fourth quarter. Let's play. Like you need guys like that, and I think we'll have that when it comes to Cade Cunningham and Edwards, who definitely got kind of shafted on the ultimate experience, like based on the new format. Losing, I think Cade played like 4 minutes, but like you can see Cade. Cade got blocked by Wemby. And that next time he went to the basket, he like, okay, like, I'm not bullshit. Like, I'm trying to dunk on your ass. That's what we need more of. Jaren Jackson trying to block shots. Like, it's a way. Like, I hate how we've gotten to the point of, like, oh, nobody wants to get hurt. Like, motherfuckers was playing hard in Olympic.
Yeah, nobody said, look at that hockey game that just happened. I mean, that's mid-season. They're fucking going.
Like, that's dope. Like, and that's cool.
You know what's happening now Thursday is USA's playing Canada again in the finals. So
I want to see that because, like,
and it's in Boston.
3 fights in the first 10 seconds, bro. Like,
oh, they definitely fight.
Oh, yeah.
That's so like, we have to stop acting like you can't compete and also avoid getting hurt because in football, Drew, you know that Coach Golson used to tell us the best way to get hurt on the football field is bullshitting. You trying to bullshit around, you get fucked up, caught off guard, like. So it's pop. These dudes hoop, and we say this all the time. At the Rico Hines run, we see all these runs in the off season where motherfuckers is really trying to work on that game and get better. You can look at the All-Star game the same way. Like Isaiah Thomas.
What incentive would they have though, B? So like, I know we complaining, but what's the solution though?
That's the thing. I really don't think the All-Star game, like, I'm all for player empowerment, and we keep hearing, like the one-on-one tournament they're proposing with, like, I think $1 million grand prize. Like, that's cool, but, like, and I'm all for players empowerment and, like, giving them shit, but, like, I don't think the All-Star game is one thing where it's, like, it should be if you want to show up after being voted by either the players, coaches, fans, and you want to, like, play or basically say, like, I'm a hoop for real. And I ain't telling you go out there and act like it's the motherfucking NBA Finals, but, like, with the layup lines, like, that's bullshit. But, like, I don't think
but we getting that from all the leagues, though. Like, it's not just the NBA. Man, we say the same thing about the Pro Bowl and the NFL.
Well, that's the thing with the NFL. Like, the NFL is a sport where, like, you already know, like, you a ticking time clock. Like, you go, just due to the sport, you going to get injured. There's injuries in the NBA, obviously, but, like, as far as, like, the assumption of you go out there and you know you're going to get hurt, that's where I feel like it's different. Like, and I understand at one point the Pro Bowl was serious, but, like, I can see why they would transition to flag football and not risk getting hurt in a Pro Bowl versus an All-Star game. Like, maybe the incentive isn't financial. Maybe it's you go back to East versus West, and whoever wins that game, like, the finals dictates who's the one seed out of the two conferences. Like,
I like that about
baseball
the
did
MLB.
something like that.
But
like,
that's why I like
MLB.
Advantage.
Yeah.
Like, I see if you're gonna put money up for the dunk contest, because that's like individual stuff. One-on-one competition, that's individual. Like, when it comes to the All-Star, you're not out there playing 38 minutes. Like, you might be out there 15 minutes, 20 minutes. That's enough for you to be like, okay, I'm going to put on for the fans because that's ultimately what this is for, versus being like, I don't think it has the same level of you by yourself. What's going to motivate you to bust their ass in this one-on-one competition? And when you get through it, you get $1 million. Like, that's what.
Because I've seen players complaining like the the time lapse between like the next rounds and stuff like that, and
That
also
was
that
bad.
they couldn't break records. Like
yeah.
it was the individual
Yeah,
thing.
that's
Like,
shitty.
you know, we can't break Melo's All-Star record because I ain't
Right.
on the court long enough to shoot 59 times.
Yeah, that's
So,
a
like,
good point. I will say
but
I saw
then,
somebody
like,
talk about Adam Silver, how he seems to be obsessed with tournaments, and I cracked up at that because whether it's the
Yeah.
NBA in-season
yeah,
tournament,
the
like
in-season.
now making the All-Star game, like everything
That's
is
funny.
tournament-based.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we don't really need, like you said, like you out based on the going up to 40, and now like you just asked out for the like. The fans are getting shafted at that point. Like, it's people there that wanted to see Cade. There's a lot of people there that wanted to see Ant Edwards. Like, you got what?
Did Ant even play? Ant didn't play. I think he was
I don't
in.
think
No,
he
he
did.
sat out before.
But like Luka, there's certain stars, and I will say I give a lot of credit to LeBron, and that's my goal forever. But I do not like how he handled the NBA All-Star situation.
not
I think he did that on purpose.
I
think he did that because I think he did that. Like, I could be wrong. I could have my like aluminum foil cap on, but Brian ain't never did no shit like this before. I think he did that to say
That
like
new
this shit
league?
is stupid.
Oh
No, this shit is stupid. I'm not being a part of this shit because he said this is the second time he said when they was talking about things for the league and like how you could change the All-Star game. He was like, I have ideas, and they asked him like, do you want to change now? He was like, nah, it's too many people in this room that I don't know for me to get to talking like this,
did
but
hear
I got
that.
ideas.
Didn't know what he was asked.
Yeah,
before.
and so
Okay.
I think he did that shit on purpose. Yep.
I heard a lot of people say basically that he was almost like disrespected with the Rising Stars being one of the teams, and especially with OGs
because they ain't earned their keep. Yeah,
Right.
I get it.
I get that on one hand, but like we can't take away, and
It's
I
like
have to give a lot
JV
of credit
versus
to
seniors,
Chuck.
though. I mean, I kind of like that. They were actually trying out there.
I like
yeah,
it, but like,
I like
think what's
that.
being missed is the fact that like they're trying this new formula because y'all wasn't taking this shit
Exactly.
serious.
Yeah.
And it felt like to me they were aiming for that moment. Remember with the Dream Team when they had that scrimmage?
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
embarrassed by the young. I feel like that was not maybe the ultimate goal, but like, hey, we need something. Like, I will say, I feel like this did something, like whether you liked it or not. Like, the rising stars out there, people like Stephon Castle who was trying to dunk on whoever was under the rim. Like, again, you need more assholes like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I just didn't like the fact that even if Brian did do it on purpose to like send a message for how much LeBron has gone on his way to like make it a point to try to play in all games to, you know, ensure whoever was coming to a game got to see him. Like, there's fans that pay for that to see LeBron. And he was there because there were stars that was
He didn't even
voting.
put on his uniform. That's how I know it was a
And
protest.
that's
dog.
another thing. Like, that picture could have been really cold, but like you got Bron standing there awkwardly. And again, if he was trying to prove a point, that makes sense. But like, he did ruin the picture. Like, I'm not a stand to the point where like I'm not going. You ruined the picture, and you took essentially somebody's spot where if you had let it be known, like, hey, I'm not playing. That could have been
somebody
a
could've played.
bonus. That could have been LaMelo Ball. Like, that was what rubbed me the wrong way. But like again, just like the Drake conversation, like I'm not gonna be one of those slappies that's like everything they do I'm gonna agree with. Like, no, Brown was wrong. Now, if he felt like he had to do that to send whatever message for the next All-Star game, like, so be it. But I didn't like how he handled that at all.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't. This was the first year I actually didn't watch the 3-point contest. I don't know
He
if
didn't
either of
miss
y'all
much.
watched it. Like,
He
watched
didn't
it.
miss much at all.
I just
I
feel
think
like
that
Go ahead,
the last round was kind of like anticlimactic.
It was,
but
yeah. It was 24 was the score.
The semifinal, yeah, the semifinal was lit though because Buddy Hield went crazy.
Tyler
And
Hero
then-
wasn't even really scoring like that. Like, I don't know.
No,
I thought it was weak.
it was just a weird weekend all
Yeah,
around.
Wemby and Chris Paul not trying in that one.
Like, what
come
the
on,
fuck?
man.
Leave it to Chris Paul to come out there and
Bro.
think it's gonna be
He's such a douche.
fair.
You cheating, you ain't
he's
trying.
Such a douche.
Bro,
You ain't
like,
cheating, you ain't
he's such
That
trying.
a
is
dude.
such a Chris Paul move.
So
though.
really
I
on your
feel
side,
that
B.
because I feel like with the skills challenge, if the shots is not going to mean anything, then I understood what they was doing, just like throwing that shit up. Like, you know, if it's not going to count towards a time bump or anything like that, then yeah, it's unnecessary. Just throw the shits up and go to the next.
I
I
get
understood
it.
the thought process.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's like, bro, again, there's kids there that's trying to see like who can do the drills correctly versus just being like, hey, I'm gonna take advantage of the sit. Like that's such a Chris Paul move.
That's
like
his bread and butter too, is a mid-range shot. Like just make the fucking shot,
bro.
Like, I was with it. I was arguing with the ref with him. I was so
annoyed. Like,
I was with
him. This motherfucker here. Like getting upset because he can't like bend the rules.
Y'all mad that I thought of it first? Like he was like, y'all mad. It's not in the rules to say an actual shot. Like you know what I'm saying?
When I didn't see that live. I saw the replays. I'm like,
they called it live that he got disqualified, and he was just
so
like,
glad.
he was like, that's
mad
BS.
Too,
Because,
like,
he was like, that's BS.
He said he asked people beforehand. Supposedly.
Yes. Bro, I'm telling you, literally before he's talking to the man, literally before, like, hey, if we do this, are we good?
He should sue them.
Like he's asking.
He should sue then, if that's the case. Get his prize money and donate it to charity. Like, come on.
That's what gets me. Like,
yeah.
If we don't, I'm not. I know this might ruffle some feathers, but like. I'm all for charity donations, but like, if we want guys to really like play hard, like you got to do like this. What y'all get to donate towards our charity, but this is what goes to your pockets. Because like, I get it. They all millionaires. They got hella money. But like, even with the play-in games, So like, I don't know how you do that, but everything don't have to be in honor of charities, because like it just feels like it don't feel authentic, bro. Like you can still care about money despite how much money you have. I don't know. That's always and I know it sounds weird. It's like, oh, you're not supporting charities. Like I do 100%. But I'm not gonna sit here and act like they supposed to play as hard to be able to have these donations towards a charity versus being like, oh, you get charity and you get something in your pockets. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, because. Oh, that annoys me. It's like how the NFL, as soon as like, remember how they all used to wear pink in October, and as soon as like the deal wasn't the same anymore, like, what?
Fuck it.
Don't even see. When's the last time you seen pink in October?
Exactly.
I
just
do the
shoes thing.
Like let's call it what it is. So it's really crazy, but hopefully we see that improve. But I don't know. Somebody made a point where it's like, the All-Star game used to be like maybe the one chance you got to see certain players on other teams. But now, whether it's social media, whether it's these documentaries on Netflix, like we have so much access to the players now, where like you can miss the All-Star game and not feel like you're missing out
all
on
got social media too. Like you can follow them. Yeah.
So I feel like we do have to be, like Gerard said throughout the episode, like accountable. We all are older. The game doesn't mean as much to us like it may mean to younger kids. But at the same time, like, we can follow along on certain social media and feel like we know everything about these players' lives. But that didn't used to be the case back in the 80s, back in the 70s. Like, if you didn't go to that game when they came to your city, you may not see them for that whole next year unless they make the finals. Like, so I think that was something that I came across. And I was like, that makes sense. Other than that, I watched the history on the beef between 50 Cent and Cameron. So educational. Like, it makes them getting back cool so dope. But like, I look at Jim Jones and I look at Joel Santana so differently than I once did. And I don't care how much like you and your man's not getting along. There's just certain shit you don't do. And to come out at that 50 Cent concert, like that's some bitch ass shit. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much 50 offered you. Like, even the fact that 50 basically said, like, I threw this out there just to see if they would do it, and they did. Like, I'm not mad at 50. I'm mad at Jim Jones and Joel. Like, that's fucked up. I don't care how beefed out you are. 50 is diabolical. The song, I didn't know about the songs when it comes to, what was it?
Funeral music?
Funeral music and Curtis.
I literally just pulled it up because I was like, B, I want to send you this song. Like,
bro,
do you remember how diabolical that video was, Gerard? He went to his grave and fucking, like, pissed on it pretty much.
Bro, like, the skits, like, all of that was dope as fuck.
Funeral music was fire. Now, Curtis was funny, but funeral music was fire.
Like, I didn't know that, bro. I didn't know.
Yeah.
It was so much that I got educated on. I'm like, bro, this makes the fact that they linked back up on that recent interview even cooler, because after knowing the history and then seeing like Cameron, it was like he almost disappeared, but he was like, no, I was on probation. And they basically asked me like, what's up with this you and 50 shit? Like, I know it. And he was like, it's music. And he was like, how y'all got me in here, but y'all don't have 50 in here? Like, we both beefing. But to know, like, he had to take a hiatus to get off probation. But he even admitted, like, nah, when you brought these niggas out at your show, like, I'm like, that's the ultimate chess match piece. Like, he had more disdain for his boys than he did for 50, and I completely understand that.
Nah, yeah, they should have held it down.
Like, come on, bro. Like, that's especially the way that Jim Jones talk about being from, bro, it's so much in that I could talk about. T.I. accurately predicted, I mentioned how I watched his interview, but he predicted that Kendrick would perform Not Like Us before the performance on Logan Paul's podcast. It was an interview with him and Young Dro. I love the maturation, by the way, of Young Dro. Love to see it.
Yeah.
Mace, watch him going off on Paul George, said that we officially got to stop all the young heads and talk about the GOAT talk with Paul George after he scored 2 points, whether it's Brandon Miller or Kyan Anthony. Like, he like, nah, like, we got to put that shit to bed. Mace said they're going to take his expert card because he was going so hard for Philly and Paul George. But he said ultimately Paul George making off worse than Bernie Madoff, and that shit had me rolling, dog. Like,
I just hate that the YNs say GOAT. Like, just stop saying GOAT. Like, just say my favorite player.
Yeah.
Like,
favorite player, or like he make it look smooth and
Paul
easy.
George
But like,
ain't even in anybody's top 20. Like, come on,
bro. Like, that shit is ridiculous.
Jesus.
I watched The Undertaker versus The Rock versus Kurt Angle in a triple threat match.
I remember that, yeah.
Undisputed title.
Yep.
Vengeance 2002.
I actually really like that belt too. That Undisputed belt.
The Rock chokeslam Undertaker.
Yep.
Did the ankle lock on Kurt Angle. Yep. Then Kurt did the rock bottom on The Rock.
When Rock did the ankle lock, his face is hilarious.
Bro, I was convinced at the time he was trying to literally snap his fucking leg off, dog. But then Undertaker hit Kurt Angle with the ankles or the Olympic slam.
Yep.
Bro, I love shit like that in matches.
Yep.
And also, I did not remember that was at Joe Louis Arena, dog. Like, what are the odds? So that was super dope.
What was the pay-per-view? Do you remember? Was it Backlash?
Vengeance in 2002.
Gotcha.
So a good time. And then last thing was Black Jeopardy on SNL's 50th anniversary.
Yeah. That's one of the best reoccurring segments on there.
Dude, Eddie Murphy doing his impression of Tracy Morgan while Tracy Morgan was next to him. If you've never seen Eddie Murphy do the fucking impression
that
of
shit
him,
was funny as hell.
it is so spot on.
My God.
And everybody is breaking character, trying their best to keep it professional. And then Keenan's like, he basically refers to their two characters. He's like, y'all look like y'all could be family. Tracy Morgan's like, I don't see it. And then that shit was hilarious, dog. And then the last thing I
said, James Earl Jones is my father. He impregnated my mother on the set of Claudia.
What is Showtime at the Apollo? Oh, that was great. I don't know if I watched the full episode, but it looked like it was some dope moments. So I was just happy to see Kenan Thompson get his flowers as the longest running current, I guess, show member. I don't know if it was all time, but
Kenan, all time. Yeah,
I just love seeing that, bro. So that looked like it was dope. Also, Eddie was in the Scare Straight with Kenan Thompson too. So,
oh my God,
I just love. They had what's his name? Will Ferrell too. Will Ferrell got a character, dog. Job well done. Last thing I had in my notes is the Pistons going into the All-Star break above 500.
Why we ain't complaining? Because why was Lil Wayne performing in New York City? They couldn't get Dipset. Cameron was right there.
Did you
50
see that
Cent was right there.
Did you see that, bro?
Bro, I'm just saying, because they are in New York City and Lil Wayne is from New Orleans.
You're right.
And he's performing at that show.
No, you're right. No, you're right.
I should flip a table. I am so angry. I'm going to write a letter to NBC.
Don't do it, Bloodbath. Don't do it. Don't do it. Come on, man. But every time I watch a performance, I'm like, bro, this is really what people wanted. This is really what people wanted at the fucking Super Bowl. Like, y'all really, like, that's really the standards y'all have for the biggest halftime. Come on, bro. Like,
dog, literally before the Super Bowl, my brother texted me like, "Dang, it's crazy that Lil Wayne ain't performing." I'm like, "Have you seen a Lil Wayne show?" He's like, "It don't matter. They in New Orleans." I'm like, bro, You do not want Lil Wayne performing at the Super Bowl.
Let alone hoping the motherfucker show up on time. Like, come on, bro. Like, it's just gotta have honesty. But I'm glad you stopped me with that. That is fucking hilarious. So the Pistons going into the All-Star break above 500 for the first time since 2009, the year me and Drew graduated from high school. So
when we traded AI for Chauncey that year.
Oh man, don't remind me. I still can tell you exactly where I was when that trade happened. I was in Mr. Walsh's class. And everybody started running through the hallways talking about, we got AI. I'm like, what?
Like Paul Revere running through Tell News.
Bro,
man. Just
at that point, it wasn't no Twitter. It wasn't, you got your information from the radio or from motherfucking newspaper.
I was so mad that it was Chauncey. I wanted them to trade Rip.
Man.
Like, so,
could have went
honestly, Gerard, not that I think about it, if they would have still had Chauncey as the leader and
we would have been fine.
Lead that locker room, because you had Rip, you had AI, and you had Stuckey, who was like the young up-and-comer. But they all basically played the same role, and Michael Curry tried to get AI to come off the bench, and that's when all shit went
That's
went
when all
left.
hell broke loose.
But if you have Chauncey and you have AI next to him, defense would have been maybe a little rough, but you still got that leadership, and I'm sure you can still bring Stuckey on as a sixth man or to eventually take Chauncey's role. But you still have that leadership within the locker room, which is the biggest problem that left after Chauncey was gone. And just credit, when he went to Denver, he ultimately turned that around and gave them the leadership they needed next to Melo, and you saw the results. So
and then it was
I understand why it was Chauncey, though. Man. I understand why it was Chauncey, because Chauncey was to his downside. Chauncey was the ultimate, like, I'm gonna flip the switch. Like, when Chauncey would play hard, everybody else would play hard. But when he came out bullshitting, everybody would go through the motions.
It was also sending him home though too. Like, it wasn't the worst for Chauncey.
True,
you know?
But like, they just was everybody knew the Pistons needed something new because they had basically kind of reached their peak with that team. But like,
who knew it spiraled into what it was though before now?
It could not have went any worse, dog. Like,
honestly,
motherfuckers wanted to fight Michael Curry. Like, AI being in the fucking casinos
casino every fucking day.
Like, nah, that's
Can you blame him?
I don't know if I can. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, hey,
you're on your third team now. You're vet. You know, you don't quite have the star power.
I was gonna say he wasn't that AI anymore. And I feel like he couldn't even accept that when he got to the Grizzlies. Like, the Grizzlies told him the same thing, and that's when he retired. Like, nah, I'm done.
Like T-Mac when he came here, like, he was nothing, you know.
Oh, T.I. was
nothing.
Jesus Lord. Like, C-Web too. You could throw him in that boat too.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, he tried though. C-Web actually played well.
Yeah, he tried. He didn't have a lot left in the tank though.
He couldn't jump.
He couldn't jump at all, dog.
I give all the credit to Antonio McDyess, because what he had left in his knee, he gave it all for that 6-man role.
Yeah, bro. So till this day, whenever I'm like my most depressed self, I will think of that
ring.
I will think of that picture of him just with the hands above his head in disbelief, dog, giving his all.
Yeah.
Oh, poor
he was like the perfect pick and pop too, like to go with Rip, you know.
He was. Like, and to think, the Pistons almost had Kobe here at one point for Tayshaun and was it Rip?
Rip.
So they still would have had, I think, Chauncey. I think that might have been the year where Ben went to.
Yeah.
I think Ben left, if I'm not mistaken, but they still would have had Chauncey. They still would have had Rasheed. They would have had McDyess. And you add Kobe to that, man.
Jason Maxiell off the bench too. Then I mean, he was a nice bench piece. You know,
he looked like he was gonna be something his first couple of years, and just Also, shout out to longtime Pistons broadcaster George Blaha being inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Blaha has been awarded the 2025 Kurt Gowdy Media Award for electronic media, which is what my major was in college. So shout out to the one and only George Blaha, who, speaking of needing to hang him up,
honestly,
I ain't trying to slander.
It's over.
It's over.
I ain't trying to slander my dog, but
when
he's
it's
mailing it
time.
in.
When you start calling rim grazers windmills, that's when it's time, my dog. You done served your purpose, man. I just feel like
he's seen some great moments, and the lows were really low. So
I just feel like the Pistons have reached this point where they need like a rebranding to embrace this. Like,
definitely,
You always hear with the Pistons, like when it's successful, it's like, oh, a reincarnation of the Bad Boys. It's cool, and I get
They
that.
should let Sada Baby take his spot.
Like, please, like, get some. They need some new flavor, bro.
They need a new logo, man. That's what. It's just the ball with the name.
New
is so
logo,
bad.
new broadcast team. Like,
go with
even
this whole
if you
regime.
keep Mason, like, you can keep that, but like, new intro, like, it's like they keep trying to reach for the ghost of the past, and it's like it's okay, bro, to stand on something new. So And all in all, that's the last thing I had in my notes, fellas. Is there anything else y'all want to add before we get out of here?
I'm tapped.
Nah.
Well, I just want to end this by
this
saying
was a good pod.
It was a good
I
pod.
really enjoyed being able to have.
I only yelled at you once. It's all good.
Nah, that's fact.
Me and Gerard.
If I had one gripe,
I know what.
close to y'all
I was just about to say. I know it's going to push his button now.
I'm tired of being the one to yell at y'all individually.
Now
one of these days,
I know his tick.
One of these, we were so because Gerard was almost there, bro. And y'all always real there for each other. Y'all, one day,
so Gerard,
one day we're gonna get there.
Blueprint 2. You want to die on the hill for, huh?
All right,
that
man.
one.
See,
I'm joking.
One day,
we'll get into it soon.
On that note, this has been another episode of Two Hip Hop Senseis, man. Two Hip Hop Senseis and a Casual. Sorry, until the next time, y'all be easy.
One.
Take care. I was thinking, I was like, I wanted to
I'll
add
get you
something.
mine, Drew. Hey, it's 11 o'clock, bro.
It's 11. I'm tired. Good night, y'all.